plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. We service all makes and models. Call us at 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Richard Allen's defense now has control of the Delphi murders trial now that the prosecution has rested. Plus, why two families are suing Indy Metro Police, and she's one of a handful of kids getting a free ride to see Taylor Swift. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
A big hiring slowdown. I'm Dave Anthony. In the last big economic report before the presidential election, the October jobs report just out came in way below expectations.
12,000 jobs added.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni.
We haven't seen this number since December of 2020.
The government's also revised August and September hiring down. 112,000 fewer jobs created in those months than first reported. The unemployment rate last month remained the same, though, 4.1%. The economy remains the biggest issue for many voters, especially inflation.
I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries.
Vice President Harris in Las Vegas.
If Kamala is reelected, New Mexico's economy will be reduced to rubble. You're not going to be drilling oil. There's no more drilling. There's no more oil. You can forget it.
Former President Trump in Albuquerque. He also went to Nevada, and both also campaigned in Arizona. Today, there will be dueling Trump-Harris rallies in Wisconsin, and the former president will also go to Michigan, another toss-up state, and he may again bring up President Biden calling Trump supporters garbage. The White House insists, though, the president didn't, editing the transcript of what he said, putting an apostrophe after the R in supporters in the transcript to make it look singular, like he was only referring to one now infamous supporter. That angered the White House stenography office, which did not improve that change.
The White House is not explaining what exactly happened here, just to say the president confirmed in his tweet on Tuesday evening that he was addressing the hateful rhetoric from the comedian at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. That was reflected in the transcript.
Fox's Peter Ducey, that comedian, caused a stir calling Puerto Rico garbage. A shooting after midnight in downtown Orlando, Florida, left 2 people dead during a Halloween celebration.
Those victims are currently in stable condition. Shortly after the reported shots fired, a shooting suspect was located and taken into custody.
Police Chief Eric Smith talking about the 6 people wounded. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Time for the defense. Radar is clear. It's sunny and 42 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. The state of Indiana has rested its case in the Delphi murders trial. Donnie Burgess reports on what's next.
Now that the defense team has the ball, they're going to attempt to attack the state's timeline of events and prove Richard Allen's prison confessions are bogus due to his well-being at the time. But the defense is also waiting for a final word from Judge Fran Gull on a few motions. Allen's lawyers want to bring in a few inmates like Keegan Kline into the trial, and they also want Odinism and third-party suspect theories allowed. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
60 years in prison for a man who sold drugs to another man who ended up dying of an overdose in Boone County. Andre Johnson is said by detectives to have met with the man in 2020 and sold him the drugs, and they turned out to be laced with high levels of fentanyl. Two Indianapolis families are suing over the shooting deaths of two men last year. Both men were shot by IMPD officers. Darcel Edwards in October and Leandre Houston in November. Both were unarmed when they were shot. Attorney Nathaniel Lee says in Edwards' case, he was suffering a bout of mental illness.
One of the telltale signs, he said, call my mama. You know, you're not going to shoot somebody if you want your mom to come to the scene.
The families of both men claim that these shootings were not justified and are taking IMPD to court in a civil case. The department has no comment on the lawsuit. Carolee Carty is one of many patients at Riley Hospital for Children who found out this week that they're getting tickets to see Taylor Swift in concert.
I felt happy, very excited. I felt like I was going to cry with how happy I was.
Carty is from Clinton, and she's been battling scoliosis. Taylor Swift is in Indy performing 3 shows starting tonight. Some additional perspective lent by Colts head coach Shane Steichen as to why the decision was made to bench Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco.
Yeah, we're trying to make the playoffs. We're trying to make a push right now going into November and December and feel that Joe gives us the best chance to do that.
Flacco is the main man heading into their primetime showdown this Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Westbound 70 coming out of the south split. Crash blocking the left lane with a slowdown back to Washington. East side northbound 465 stop and go from Penn Pike 275th. 16 minutes on the delay. Northbound 465 northwest side slows. 86th Street up to 865. Traffic sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Lots of sunshine, but cooler temperatures as we open the month of November. Today's high 59. Mostly clear, quiet, and chilly overnight. Some areas of frost, a low of 37. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
42 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, November 1st. It's 7 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Mark Cuban, guess what he's doing? He's rolling it back. Of course, he has issued an apology after comments that he made on his The View appearance yesterday. This, where he called women who support Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump does not surround himself with strong, intelligent women.
You know what's fascinating about the left is that if you let them talk long enough, we've always talked about this, right? If you let them talk long enough, there used to be politicians who were pretty good, or the political people or the surrogates or whatever, were pretty good about not saying the quiet part out loud. But the problem is in like the internet era in which we live, where the level you have to go to shock people is the bar is so much higher now. I mean, Hammer and I were laughing the other day about Howard Dean was undone in 2004 by that famous Dean scream, like, we're going to go to North Dakota and South Dakota. And I remember at the time watching that in real time going, oh, he's done. Like, he just cooked himself.
Yeah, I remember
and now that
too.
wouldn't even register. Like, that wouldn't even make the news. That would have been enough. I mean, we're so far, and that was 20 years ago. So in 20 years, we have so pushed the envelope. But the problem is, every appearance you make now, you've got to try to say something that's going to shock the imagination. You've got to say something that's going to make you be on Twitter, right? Or the shares, because we've talked about this. It's not the appearance itself anymore. It used to be the thing, like, hey, I'm going on Oprah, or I'm going on 60 Minutes, or whatever. And that you had to watch the thing. Now it's the share. You could be on a podcast with 100 listeners, and it's the share on Twitter that is where the actual viewership is. And so I think with people like Mark Cuban, he's really getting into, I'm going to these rallies, I'm speaking for Kamala Harris, there's tens of thousands of people there. And then you feel like you got to keep pressing the envelope to the point where you say this thing, and in the moment, it might kind of sound good because you're rolling and you're trying to say, I mean, the point he's trying to get is that Trump is threatened by women or whatever. But then you say it and you go, ooh, there's a lot of very successful women who are supporting Donald Trump.
That's not what I meant. Well, okay, so he has put out a statement. He said, well, you know what? Let's listen to what he said, just in case somebody hasn't heard it yet.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
Okay, clearly there's a long list of strong, intelligent women that are around Donald Trump, that work with Donald Trump, who support Donald Trump. And we could go over that list, but we're actually going to hear from many of those women throughout the show.
How exciting.
But you know that there are plenty of strong, intelligent women around Donald Trump who support him. We're talking about doctors, lawyers, teachers, nurses, professionals, executives, mothers, grandmothers. The list goes on and on and on. So Mark Cuban this morning, he said, when I said this during the interview, I didn't get it out exactly the way I thought I did. Well, no kidding. Who's not the strong, intelligent person now? Nobody wants to be told that they're weak or dumb. Nobody wants to be told what to think or what their opinion should be. And when the left can't get their idea across, they resort to bullying. This reminds me very much of what Barack Obama did when he was talking to black men, saying, if you don't vote for Kamala, it's on you, shame on you. And Mark Cuban was saying the same thing here. If you're a woman and you don't vote for Harris, well, you're dumb and weak.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? So they open the door. Look, you know my opinion on this. Politics is a full contact adult sport, so spare me the tears, right, on all sides. We're all big boys and girls, and we're fighting over who's going to lead a nation of 330 million people, the economic driver of the world, the most powerful military in the world. I mean, this is a very, very big boy sport, and if you're going to step in the arena, whether you're, a surrogate or you're the candidate or whatever, then that's just the way it operates, right? So
Yeah.
So you never see me crying for these people who get in the arena. However, the left, if they're going to have this manufactured outrage over a comedian doing a joke about a nation where there's headline after headline after headline after headline after headline in major mainstream media publications about the problem with garbage in that country, like liberal publications talking about the outrageous amount of garbage and how they're dealing with garbage in Puerto Rico. If you're going to be outraged and offended and cry crocodile tears over that, then the president actually calling half the country garbage, and this doofus going on The View saying there's no strong or independent women or whatever around Donald Trump, then it's all fair game, because that's infinitely worse than some guy making a joke about the news.
So I don't think anybody would say that Riley Gaines isn't smart or intelligent. So here's her hot take, breaking it down for us.
All right, let's just unpack this really quick. Just in the past week alone, Trump supporters have been called Nazis by virtually every media outlet. We have been called garbage by the sitting United States president. And now Mark Cuban has come out and said there is no such thing as a strong, intelligent female supporter of Donald Trump because they don't exist. Respectfully, Mark Cuban, you would not know a strong, intelligent female if she slapped you across the face, which you're such a beta, you might actually kind of like that. So if you are a healthcare provider, if you are a school teacher, if you are a U.S. military member and you are a woman and a Trump supporter, then to Mark Cuban, you are stupid and weak. If this woman right here, Tulsi Gabbard, a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, if this is not a strong, intelligent woman, then what is? Actually, I already know Mark Cuban's answer. This is who Mark Cuban believes to be a strong, intelligent woman. Although we really shouldn't be too surprised that a comment like this would come out of Mark Cuban's mouth, considering that he says border czar Harris has done a good job at the southern border, which maybe we just have different ideas of what constitutes as a good job. But to me, the illegal entrance of 13,000 murderers, 16,000 rapists, and the 320,000 missing children certainly doesn't fit the bill. It doesn't seem like continue.
Okay, all right. And we love Riley. She's a friend of the show,
Yeah.
but that's enough. Okay, so she's a strong, independent woman.
She is.
Great, okay, very
She's a strong, intelligent woman.
All right, so here and Tony was talking about this morning. Frank Luntz, who is a very famous, he's a pollster. You always see him.
Is he on NBC?
Well, I don't. He was
Or
Fox.
CNBC?
He was Fox for a while. I don't know who he's with now.
Yeah.
One of these networks. You know, these guys all kind of hop around. But he famously is not a fan of Trump. Trump's not a fan of him. But he's kind of this very respected pollster. Does the surveys after debates. Who do you think won? Whatever. He was talking about what the actual ramification of the garbage, or in this case, the independent woman, whatever. And he had a pretty good point. He said, these things are not going to sway people one way or another, because most of this is baked in at this point. You kind of know, right? It's going to motivate people to go vote.
Yeah.
It's going to motivate people who might have been on the sidelines or people who weren't fired up. Now you're in, right? Okay, who are you to tell me I'm not strong and independent? Who are you to tell me I'm
It's interesting
garbage?
you say that because, we've talked about how the dude has been like, I don't know, I'll get around to it
Right.
if it's convenient for me. Well, after, last night at our house, I was mad. I was charged up.
Yeah.
And we had a long conversation. I was like, no, you have to go vote now. If not
But
for
it's
you,
midnight. No, go.
No, well, not like last night, but now after hearing what Mark Cuban said, because that to me was him mansplaining in his misogynistic way that I am not a strong, intelligent woman. So now I got to do it. And now the man who supports me is going to go prove as well that I'm
Yeah.
a strong, intelligent woman.
Hey, when we come back,
Yeah.
my wife got asked to do a national survey
Yeah.
for the election.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to watch it because she did it in front of me and watch how it all worked. And it's a major networks poll. So it'll, I guess, come out here in a day or two or whatever. You want to talk about that when we come back?
I want to know what they asked her.
Yeah.
That's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Galloway for a three. Throws it up and in, and a foul. For a three, yes. And a Baco.
Mike Goodson has an exciting roster of veterans, transfers, and freshmen. The exhibition moves home as the Marion Knights come to Assembly Hall tonight.
Throws it up. Got it!
John Herrick has the pregame at 6. Don Fisher with the tip at 7. On your home for IU basketball, 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
If you're asking, how much money do I need to retire? You're asking the wrong question. The question you should really be asking is, how much money do I need every month to cover my expenses in retirement? Then it's just a matter of creating different sources of income to cover your expenses. Discover how you could turn your savings into a guaranteed stream of income in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. Call him at 317-648-5120.
We trust Bill Demery to help us with planning for retirement. He's our retirement guy, and you can trust him too. Bill breaks things down in a way that we can all understand. And if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement, call Bill right now, 317-648-5120. Social Security alone won't be enough. Contact Bill Demery, 317-648-5120, 648-5120.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girl sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Get in gear with fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get a brand new 2024 Navigator. Get an incredible $10,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. Or get $7,000 off select new 2024 Lincoln Aviators plus 0% for 60 months. So get some of those fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24412. MSRP 104,200. Stock number L24208. MSRP 75,300. See dealer for complete details.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Good morning. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So I had someone call me last night from Kent County, Michigan, asking if I was going to support their candidates.
Oh.
And when I said, so Kent County, Michigan, this is Grand Rapids. Clearly, I'm still on a list from Michigan.
So you, just to, some people may not be aware, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob, that's Casey. You lived in Michigan at one point.
Yeah, for a year and a half before I moved here to Indianapolis.
And they've not updated their list.
I'm still on that list. They're still calling me. They're still sending me things. And at one point in the conversation, I asked him, I said, well, can you tell me about the candidates? And he said, they're the incumbents. And I said, that's all you can tell me? You don't have any bullet points? And he kind of fumbled around and said, oh, well, wait a second. And then I said, do you know that Donald Trump has announced his last rally will be in Grand Rapids? Will the candidates be there for that? And that's when he hung up on me.
So it is interesting. There's, especially like with these sort of elections, a lot of times that stuff will get outsourced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just trying to get a name ID and make sure you know that's going on. And you know, there are companies that do this. A lot of times they'll be the campaigns will do it themselves. Like I did this when or for Marlon Stutzman's U.S. Senate campaign, you're talking, but you obviously know all the people, the candidate himself and what's going on in the state, but you'll get, these out-of-state people who have no connection to the candidate, and they're just, they're basically just telemarketer people.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny that you were aware enough to, and I've heard the call there, you did that the guy had no idea who these people were. He's just reading off a script.
He was a hired hand. Okay, and your wife got a phone call or a survey? What was it?
It was in the mail. Okay. And it was so the logo at the top was, I believe, was Fox News and the AP, and it was addressed to my wife, and it said, we would like you to participate in our election survey. And I never get asked to do these. Now, in fairness, I don't respond to text messages. I've gotten text messages before, click this link. I never click links from people I don't know.
Yeah.
If I got one on the phone, I would take it, although I don't answer phone numbers. I don't know. So maybe that's the thing. But so she gets this thing in the mail, and it's like a QR code, and you put the QR code in, and then it starts you into this list of questions related to, now they were also Indiana specific. So they were national, but they were also Indiana specific. So, it starts out kind of your name. By the way, you want to talk about somebody who totally is going to skew some national poll somewhere, because she's 25, super conservative female, and extremely pro-life. And they're going to get that survey and go, what happened with this person, right? So, it starts out all your information, your age, are you eligible to vote?
Right.
Did you vote in 2020? Who did you vote for? Obviously she clicks Trump, et cetera. And then it's at, who are you going to vote for president? Who are you voting for governor? Who are you voting for United States Senate? I don't think they asked about attorney general. And then it goes into like a list of, okay, they give you topics, and is this very important, somewhat important, no difference, not important at all? You go through those. It's abortion, it's the economy, it's the border, it's some of them are kind of interesting, because like she got like preserving democracy is one of them.
Okay.
And so she looks at me and she goes, well, what do they mean by this? And I said, that's the problem, right? She goes, well, by preserving democracy, if they mean not having mass mail-in unaccountable voting, or having people be able to count votes 4 days after the election, yeah, that's important to me. But if they're trying to say, making sure that illegal immigrants
feel about have a candidate installed and not primary?
Right, exactly. So she said, I don't even know how to answer this one, because I don't know exactly what they mean by this. And so it was kind of interesting from that perspective, how many times like you see that question on these surveys. And you do wonder, are people interpreting it, immigration, crime, things like that are pretty straightforward. But like preserving democracy, she's like, I don't know how to answer this, because I don't know what do they mean by this.
Yeah, it's not a very good question. So it's like a scale, 1 through 5.
Right. Yeah, somewhat very important, somewhat important. And then they ask you, like, what is the most important issue to you? And then then there's kind of questions that come based off of that. And so, like obviously she's going to totally throw the thing off, because she's incredibly pro-life, and that's a huge issue to her. And so there's going to be this 25-year-old woman in there who, abortion and the pro-life movement and pro-life related issues are going to be her number one thing.
She'll be very polarizing, and that's what they actually pay attention to. When people answer kind of in the middle,
right,
that really doesn't do anything for the people that take the survey. They're looking for someone who's on one spectrum or the other.
It was like, I don't know, it took her maybe 10 minutes to take. She took it all on her own. She told me to butt out several times.
Good for her, because she's a strong, intelligent woman.
Who's voting for Donald Trump?
She didn't need to be mansplained to, did she?
Yeah, and she said, this is my survey. I'll take it how I want to take it. Thank you very much.
If they wanted your opinion, Rob Kendall, they would have sent you the survey.
But I wish I don't think I've ever been asked. Well, maybe one time years ago I got asked to do a survey, and I never get asked. So whatever Fox opinion poll that comes out, I guess soon,
Yeah.
And they gave her $10.
That's great.
Or a gift card or something.
I was a Gallup poll member at one point. They would send regular surveys to me.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I just kind of dropped off. I just stopped getting them. Maybe they didn't like my choices. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I do wonder if because don't like in our industry, By the way, did you see the ratings came out? We're number one.
I know. That's fantastic. We have the best audience.
Not just like our show is number one, but like WIBC. And real quick, I hate to toot our own horn, but in terms of, we are arguably by market share, the most listened to talk radio station in America. By ratings, we are arguably the highest rated talk radio station in America. Now, certainly in cities such as New York or Chicago or Los Angeles, where there's infinitely more people living, you may technically have more people listening to a talk radio station there. But in terms of the percentage of people listening and the ratings, and I have not done a deep dive yet to see if there are any talk radio stations that are higher, but based on what we see every month, there's not. Thank you to our audience. It's all the audience, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're just the people that are here. Our audience are the ones who drive this radio show, and you are doing something that is not being done
anywhere else
in America. We just can't thank you enough. I don't even know where I was going to go with that. But the point is, I wanted to say, what were we talking? We were talking about the
survey in the Gallup poll.
The survey.
Nobody ever asked you.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody ever. I don't know. Anyway, hey, we're number one.
We've got the news coming up next on 93 WIBC.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Campaigning to the north. Radar is clear, 43 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris will be campaigning in the swing state of Wisconsin today. Both presidential candidates will be holding rallies in the Milwaukee area after campaigning yesterday in the Southwest. In Las Vegas yesterday, Harris was joined by Jennifer Lopez, who said every Latino in the country was offended by the jokes made against Puerto Rico at a Trump rally over the weekend. Job growth stalled in October. Fox's Jenny Casola.
Only 12,000 new jobs were created because of temporary factors, the impact of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, and Boeing's machinist strike. The impact was even more severe than predicted. Economists were anticipating weaker job growth in October, but most were predicting at least 100,000 new positions. The unemployment rate remained at 4.1%. Jenny Casola, Fox News.
Wendy's is closing about 140 of its burger restaurants by the end of the year. Executives said Thursday during an earnings call that about 140 low-performing restaurants will be shut down worldwide. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Stocks are rebounding today after yesterday's drop-off. The Dow was up 168 to 42,115. The NASDAQ is up 64 to 20,086. And the S&P 500 is up 22 to 5,761. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Are you ready to take control of your safety? Premier Arms is the place to consider, and they're more than just a gun store. Premier Arms is a community for empowered women dedicated to helping you find the perfect firearm. Hey, it's Casey Daniels. That's how I felt when I shopped at Premier Arms. I asked them a lot of questions, and they treated me with respect. Premier Arms is in Brownsburg. They're also online, premierarms.com. Their phone number is 317-858-3030.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
You know, that's a great point, Casey.
What's that, Rob?
I'm looking at this tweet here, and it's something I hadn't even really thought about, and this guy makes a great point. It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. So Chris Spangle, he's a producer for Bob and Tom by his day job, but he's a podcaster. He was the former head of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. He put out on Twitter, and I think this is a really actually good point. He said, after 2020, every citizen of Indianapolis via the media needs to ask Governor Holcomb and Mayor Hogsett's plans for violence on election night. They need to articulate a clear public safety plan for the next 4 months. That is spot on, given how Hogsett and Holcomb let this city get overrun in the summer of 2020. The vandalism, people died. You had obviously businesses looted. They tried. This was the one building downtown they couldn't get into, and there was, assume there still is, video of those guys throwing bricks at our window. But of course, we've got that double pane bulletproof glass out front, so they couldn't get. And then they just go on to the next place that they ransacked or whatever. But after everything that happened in 2020, and let's face it, no matter what happens, somebody's going to be really pissed.
Yeah.
And if Kamala doesn't win, I think you're definitely going to see, maybe not in Indianapolis, but I think you're going to see the same merry band of misfits, many of them, who were involved in 2020, or the same type of people, out causing trouble somewhere.
Yeah, because they didn't get their way. And so what do? They become bullies when that happens. So I was looking to see if there is anything out there about some sort of safety plan. The only thing that I could really come across is this article that says that Diego Morales has briefed the Indiana Executive Council on cybersecurity, on the state's security and safety plan.
So no, like
for the
actual
election.
physical security, though.
Not physical security. This is all involving election infrastructure against cyber threats while voting, but nothing on the post-vote.
So what is this? Today's Friday, so you got, if you include today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're 5 days away from the election, and you've heard nothing publicly from Hogsett or Holcomb when they know how charged up this thing's going to be, and there's been no plan presented from either one of these.
No, but Taylor Swift can come to town,
well, right,
and they can have every police officer on duty to make sure that the out-of-towners are treated good.
By the way, you know who the hero of the next 3 days is going to be? Our pal Scotty Johnson.
The anti-hero? I don't know.
Well, our pal Scotty Johnson, who is the producer for the Colts. He's been I think he may be the longest. Well, Terry Stacy probably is, and I think Julie is as well. But he's one of the 3 or 4 longest tenured people in this building. You hear his name every Sunday if you listen to a Colts broadcast. He's the producer for the Colts. He works for the Fan. He does all sorts of stuff in terms of making sure commercials and everything plays around here. He's like sort of just a guy who, if he were to ever stop showing up to work, the whole place would fall apart and you never see him or hear him. But he was telling me that because of how the traffic is structured and how downtown is structured for the Taylor Swift concert, the Colts game is Sunday night. He's obviously the producer for the Colts. He's got to get here at like 1:30 in the afternoon for an 8 o'clock, 8:20, whatever the kickoff is for the Colts game, just because of how hard it is going to be to get and move in and around downtown Indianapolis because of the massive street closures and security presence for the Taylor Swift concert, the final one, which will be taking place on Sunday.
Did you have a problem getting into work today?
No, today was fine. So I'm looking.
I noticed it was pretty easy.
Well, what's interesting is, so they obviously are going to begin tonight. The like West Street in Illinois, which is how I come in off 70, are both going to be closed, but they're not closing them until 5 p.m. I noticed. So it's 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. each day that's going to be closed. But I think I'm going to go home a different way just to avoid Lucas Oil Stadium in that area altogether. I think I'll be all right, and I will see you people on Monday.
Hey, we had a big conversation about the graphic that's on the JW Marriott, the big Taylor Swift thing.
That was great. You put my picture next to Taylor Swift.
I know. A lot of people were really tickled by that. So I found some information out about that graphic. It's 300 feet tall. And it was done by a company called Sport Graphics, and they've been in business here in Indianapolis for 40 years. They do a lot of work. They did stuff for the NBA All-Star Game, the Olympic time trials. You remember when Caitlin Clark was up there, that Gatorade ad, they did that as well. They also work with IMS on different things. And that graphic took 5 to 6 days to install. They had 2 different teams working on it. Printing of it alone took 40 hours. And it took like 5 hours just to pack it, to have it shipped over there so that they could put it up. Now, I tried to ask around to see who paid for it. Like, is this a Chamber of Commerce or Visit Indy? And the best we can get is that it's most likely White Lodging, who is the owner of JW Marriott.
What interest do they have in paying for that?
Well, because it's promoting people to come to town and stay in their hotel.
Oh, so the theory is, hey, that's going to be seen by everybody. JW. Now, I wonder, JW Marriott, I would assume the same people that own this one own others. So if you're in another city, it's like free advertising. Where do you find, so what is it like? How did it, because I saw the guys when they were putting it up, rolling it out, and squeegeeing is not the right word, but I'm making sure it's stuck to the wall. What sort of paper is it? Does it?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
Where do you find what sort of facility has 300 feet of paper? And by the way, what if you messed up? Like, what if it was accidentally Jennifer Lopez? Hey, Harold, you really screwed up. You put the wrong woman on there.
That's why it took them 40 hours to print the thing. And so I was saying, are they going to put Joe Flacco up there next? But here's an idea. Are you ready for this one? WWE, because that's another big event that's coming.
Well, you're going to have the Royal Rumble coming in what is it, January or February, one of the two. It's the next big one to come.
Right. Okay, so you went and voted yesterday.
I did.
Are you going to regale us with your experience?
Yeah. Well, you want to do it now or you want to take a break? What do you want to do?
Why don't we take a break and then you can tell us?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
3:06 is when we crack the microphone. We are the Hammer and Nigel Show. We have the best coverage of the Delphi trial. Plus, it's Beer Sample Friday, 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indy, and we are entering the Christmas season, and this year maybe give yourself the gift of your confidence back by heading over to We Grow Hair Indy. I did it several years ago, and each time I look in the mirror, glad I did. Now, here's how it works. You call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995 and say, hey, I want to schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. And Darren and the gang are going to say, come on in. Let's take a look at what you got going on. And then they're going to give you some
possibilities on how to get your hair back. And then you take all the information and you decide what you want to do. It really is that simple. And in the meantime, you can head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com, WeGrowHairIndy.com, and you can see some other folks who made that choice to head over to We Grow Hair Indy and get their confidence back. 317-522-2995, WeGrowHairIndy.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Starting today, it's 30% or more off all nursery items in stock. You heard me right. Container trees, shrubs, and balled and burlapped items are at least 30% off. Visit the Garden Center for even deeper discounts. Looking to decorate for Halloween and Thanksgiving? Sundown Gardens can help you there, too. Save 30% off interior fall decor inside Miss Mary's gift shop. Enjoy fall and save at Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundownGardens.com.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
When it's all over, join WIBC and Tony Katz for Understanding the Election in 3 Bourbons, presented by Premier Arms on Thursday, November 14th. Enjoy bourbon, cigars, hors d'oeuvres, expert analysis, and plenty of laughs. Tickets are limited. Get yours now at WIBC.com.
So I read that Donald Trump's last rally is going to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is ironic because that is where his last rally was in 2016 when he said, Hillary's sleeping. She's sleeping so beautifully.
Well, you and I have talked about this, that Trump succeeded in 2016 because he was able to make the campaign about issues that fit his wheelhouse, right? Like, great entertainers always dictate the terms, right? Like they always are playing on their own terms, and great debaters and all these people who are great in front of the public win or perceived as winning, not because necessarily the best, but they're able to make you operate in the field they want you to operate in. It's why when the politicians come in here, it doesn't go well for them.
Because this is our home turf.
Right.
This is what we do.
We do this for a living. I've done this for 20 years. You're never, even people who hate me will say you're never going to win a debate with that guy because that's what he does for a job. And so with Trump, he was able to win 2016 because he made, in the areas he needed to make it, he was like, I don't care about the national election. It doesn't matter to me. That's not how you get elected the president. He was able to make the conversation in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, Michigan, et cetera, about issues, the border, jobs, trade, et cetera. And so he won. And 2020 was taken away from him because it was something first of all, he wasn't very good at, and there was a nation that was looking to be outraged and angered, and the two issues that were driving people were white guilt and the handling of COVID. And his handling of COVID was exceptionally bad because everybody mad at him. People like us were mad at him because it was like, you bribed these states to shut down. You put Fauci in charge. So even though I voted for Trump, I wasn't super passionate about it. And then there were people obviously who hated Trump, and so Biden won. 2024 feels like not totally the same as 2016, but it's a lot more like the issues of 2016, which tend to play into Trump's favor.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned Frank Luntz earlier. He's a pollster, a communication strategist, and he is saying the exact same thing, that this election reminds him much more of 2016.
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it, and nobody should, because statistically and polling and focus groups, it is way too close to call. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor. And so every word, every phrase, every misstep, every gaffe matters as those last remaining persuadables make their decision. I don't believe in the undecided anymore. I don't believe there's undecided.
Okay, so he was talking about the garbage comment from Biden that, yeah, that mattered in this last home stretch because it can change the momentum that somebody had. Like you pointed out, Harris seemed to be turning a corner, and then the garbage comment happens, and then nope, it goes back to Trump.
Part of being an entertainer is an ability, which and we've talked about this, and I think every person, if they're being honest with themselves, is we are now in the entertainment election world, at least as it relates to the presidency. Now, a lot of these down ballot Senate races, because these people have the personality of paint, it doesn't extrapolate, right? And you've also, it's got to be perceived as being genuine, which is why Trump is winning. He's genuinely seen as a fun, wacky, wild person. Kamala Harris is seen as a plastic person, and so for her trying to match him, it's never going to work out for her. And that's one of the things Trump has done very well. One of the things entertainers do very well, because they understand the public, they understand how people consume information, is if there's an opportunity, they will seize that opportunity. Like, okay, so here's a great example of this. This show made property taxes the issue in this election.
Right.
Why? Because we were able to present it in a build-up to the election in a way that people could understand. It took a while. It was, in fact, years in some cases of us taking phone calls and putting this forward. And we actually kind of spoke that thing into existence to where Braun and certainly Rainwater and McCormick, even though she sat here and lied to us, but then she sprinted it out the next few days, we spoke that thing into existence. Why? Because it's important to me and our audience, right? But that's how entertainment works. That's how you do it. You make people play in the field that you want them to play on, and then you seize on opportunities when they're presented to you. And Donald Trump is a master at seizing on opportunities. The McDonald's stuff, the trash truck stuff, and it's part of it is, too, he doesn't take himself seriously, right? He's willing to put the vest on. And now people went for that for Halloween.
Oh, many, many people.
The McDonald's thing, Kamala Harris would never, ever have come up with that. And the problem then when you have somebody like this is you can't really, you're always trying to play defense against them and predict what they're going to do next. And then you start trying to be like them or counteract them. And it's like an insurgent military campaign, right? You can't, if you're trying to fight with a uniform on and they're fighting, in sewers, you're never going to win.
Well, you and I talked about this earlier this morning before we got on the air. Defense isn't as much fun to play, and it's harder. Offense is fun. Donald Trump is playing offense right now.
And part of that is, and these politicians don't get it, is being seen as a genuine person. You have to, the voting is about, in the case of like a Trump, voting is about a connection. Voting is about believing in somebody. If you can make people believe in you, people are more apt to overlook areas where they may disagree with you if they believe you're a real person who genuinely cares about them and is actually, you believe the stuff that's coming out of your mouth.
Okay, do we have time to hear your voting story?
Yes, we can. I voted yesterday. First of all, I want to say this. Let's see, what am I? I'm 40, so I've been voting 22 years in Hendricks County, and I've never not had a pleasant voting experience in Hendricks County. The people that work there, whether it's the Republicans, the Democrats, I say this as a former precinct committeeman who was in charge of getting people to work the polls, they are always outstanding. They're top-notch. They're just incredibly wonderful people. There was just a throng of people at the Brownsburg Public Library. The line inside the library was like a snake.
Go through the queue.
I mean, it was outside. It was around the library. And man, I'll just tell you what, we had a very wonderful conversation with the guy behind us who turned out was a listener and a fan.
Did he recognize you?
Well, it was
from your Taylor Swift billboard.
It was funny because we were sitting there, my wife and my mom went with us, and we were talking, and then after about 20 minutes, he goes, "Hey, are you Rob Kendall?" And I said, "Well, depends." And I kind of sized the guy up, and I said, "Sure, why not?" And he was a listener and a fan, and we spent probably 40 minutes together just shooting the breeze and talking, and a great guy. And so one of the things I want to tell, first of all, kudos to all those people that are working at the Brownsburg Public Library. They did great. Look, we see in a lot of these other states some election shenanigans and things that go on. We have great poll workers from both parties here in the state of Indiana. We have very tight restrictions on our elections. We have the voter ID stuff. And these people that are there, they're trying to figure out a way to help everybody of both parties. And so make sure, I know the lines are long and I know it's frustrating, but cut these people some slack because they are trying as hard as they can to get people through as fast as they can. It's hectic. Sometimes things don't go right or whatever. Great job by all those people. They should all be very, very proud of themselves, and thank you for your service.
Okay, how about the actual voting? How did that go?
How much time we got, Kev? What? How long do I got?
We got about a minute and a half.
Why don't we take a break? And then
you want to talk about the actual ballot?
Because everybody wants to know if I indeed did pull the trigger for Todd Rokita, and I think that's a worthwhile and a very, very important conversation to have. Because I was very candid about. I voted obviously for Trump, and then Micah and Mike Braun.
Yeah.
And then Andy Horning for U.S. Senate because Jim Banks is a big fat chicken who won't debate.
Who didn't debate.
Yeah, you can't vote for that.
He didn't deserve your vote.
Now, I did vote to retain the 3 Supreme Court judges. Now, somebody emailed yesterday and pointed out, you live in Marion County. There's some local judges that are up for attention, and those people are
maybe not so deserving.
Bad. So when we wanted to be clear yesterday that when we were talking about retaining the judges, because we did get some people going, "Oh, it's Marion County." So, well, I don't live in Marion County, but this was about the Supreme Court judges. All right, so we'll take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, it'll be the question everybody's been asking: did I despise Destiny Wells enough to actually vote for Todd Rokita?
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House, and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
Jesus said, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life." C.S. Lewis said for Jesus to make these claims means he was either a liar, a lunatic, or Lord. Who is Jesus to you? Join us at Life Church as we journey through the book of John to explore who Jesus said he was and who he is. You can go to lifechurchin.com for campus locations and service times. Getting this one right matters.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust, right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers. That's why the Indiana State Police Alliance has endorsed Todd Rokita for re-election. They know Todd Rokita is protecting our jobs, protecting us from crime, and working to end illegal immigration, always putting Hoosiers first. Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers.
Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
The silence you just heard? You could have used that space to reach your customers. Get your message in front of your customers. Text BUSINESS to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what's ahead in the Delphi murders trial today, plus what you should be ready for this weekend as Taylor Swift comes to town, and charges against a man accused of killing an Army soldier from Indiana. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
We haven't had numbers like this since COVID times. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Hiring last month was the weakest since December 2020.
Job growth stalled in October. Only 12,000 new jobs were created.
Hurricanes Helene and Milton may have been factors limiting new hiring in damaged areas.
Economists were anticipating weaker job growth in October, but most were predicting at least 100,000 new positions. The unemployment rate remained at 4.1%.
That's Fox's Ginny Casola. Hiring also revised down by 112,000 jobs in August and September. President Biden in a statement says they expect job growth to rebound as hurricane recovery and rebuilding continues, and he says America's economy remains strong. This morning's report was the last update to the economy before the election.
This is all you need to know. Kamala broke it, and I will fix it.
Former President Trump blames the Biden administration for inflation. He rallied there in New Mexico and campaigned in Arizona and Nevada. So did Vice President Harris.
At the top of my list is bringing down the cost of your living. That will be my focus every single day as president.
There will be dueling Trump-Harris rallies tonight in Wisconsin. The campaign will also run through Michigan. The vice president's running mate, Tim Walz, will speak at a UAW Union Hall in Taylor, where Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble reports.
Former President Trump, his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, they'll also be in Michigan today. And what they're going to be focusing on is those auto workers who may disagree with the union's endorsement of Harris and Walz.
More than 64 million Americans have already voted early. That's about 40% of the total number of people who voted in the 2020 election. 6 people hospitalized in Orlando, Florida, after a shooting early this morning that killed 2 others in the streets downtown.
Multiple gunshots, firing. It was really loud. Everybody was scared. Everybody was running.
Police arrested a 17-year-old suspect. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The prosecution rests. It's 43 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The defense will go on the offense now in the Delphi murders trial. Prosecutors called their last round of witnesses on Thursday and by the end of the day rested their case. Richard Allen's lawyers will now look to poke holes in the prosecution's timeline of the murders and will also call their own key witnesses starting today. The amount of people in Indianapolis this weekend to see Taylor Swift might rival the solar eclipse back in April. Matt Baer reports.
Over 200,000 more people are expected in downtown Indianapolis this weekend, and that means a lot of people walking around in a small space. Watch where you drive. The new stretch of the Cultural Trail on South Street opened just this week, which will serve as a major corridor for people walking from the stadium to the rideshare lots. Also, extra cops on horseback and on foot will be patrolling to keep everyone safe. I'm Matt Baer. WIBC traffic.
A man was shot and killed late Thursday on Indy's east side. It happened near Cumberland Road and East 21st late Thursday while kids were out trick-or-treating still.
It's a great time for the kids, and to have a violent, tragic event happen in their neighborhood really is very disturbing.
IMPD officer Rob Ryder, so far no arrests. They also haven't said if they're looking for any suspects. Charges filed in the death of a U.S. Army soldier from Indiana found dead at a military base in Missouri. Sergeant Sarah Roque, a native of Ligonier, was found murdered in early October. Specialist Wooster Rancy is the man accused of killing her. He's charged with murder and obstruction of justice. Indiana takes on Michigan State tomorrow on the gridiron in East Lansing. Head coach Kurt Cignetti says this week has been a good week to work on the little things.
Again, there are things we emphasize. It's all part of being successful on the football field. And, the guys buy into it, and they have to buy into it.
Also, quarterback Curtis Rourke will be back starting against the Spartans this weekend as well. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. The Christmas season. I just love it. Won't you join us this Thursday through Sunday for our Christmas open house at all of our locations? You'll find the best prices of the season on Christmas gifts, ornaments, collectibles, accents, and more. Come in and pick up your open house coupons for additional savings up to 50% off select items. You'll also want to look at Indiana's largest selection of pre-lit Christmas trees ranging from 2 to 14 foot tall. And this Thursday through Sunday, save an extra 10% off all artificial Christmas trees, already reduced 30%. And again, at our 71st and Keystone store, climb aboard the Sullivan Express train and visit Santa. Book your tickets at sullivanhardware.com. Best prices of the season this Thursday through Sunday. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn in Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan, 114th and Allisonville Road in Fishers.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, November 1st. It is 5 minutes after 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So, some people have been waiting in some long lines to early vote. Other places, not quite as long. Did you wait for a long time?
Oh, yeah. It was, like I said, the line was outside the library. It was draped around the library. It was a weave inside the library. There were just tons and tons and tons of people there.
Okay, so when you actually got in the booth to vote.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. You voted yesterday.
Yeah, so before we get into this, there's an ad that the Democrats are running, which is just simply, well, nothing the Democrats do is unbelievable. But is it Julia Roberts? Is she the voice of this? I thought I saw that she was the backing voice to this.
Yeah.
So we have the audio, correct?
We do.
So the ad is basically, do you want to kind of remind people what the play-by-play of the ad, and you'll hear Julia Roberts narrating?
Yeah. I can do that.
Yeah.
You want me to set it up first?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's these two women. They're going into the voting booth, and they kind of give each other the eye, and the husbands are saying, okay, honey, go vote. It's your turn. And the women look at each other, and the whole premise is when you're in the voting booth, nobody knows who you're voting for. It can be your secret. Do what you want to do.
So basically what they're telling you is they've told their husbands, hey, we're going to vote for Trump. And the husband's the big misogynistic, husbands have told their little homemaker wives how it's going to be, and then these strong, independent women get in there, and they're voting for Kamala, and their stupid, ignorant husbands, because they lied to them, have no idea they've been deceived, and they voted for Kamala, and the Democrats are basically telling you, go ahead and lie to your husbands, women.
That's pretty much what it says. Here's the ad.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose, you can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey. Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
Did you make the right choice, honey?
Don't have a direct conversation with your spouse. Don't say, no, here's what I'm thinking and here's what I'm doing, and then have a, like an adult conversation with each other. The guy behind me yesterday was like, yeah, I recognize a lot of times my wife and I don't vote exactly the same, and we kind of cancel each other out sometimes. Mm-hmm. My grandparents did that for years that they can't, and they would laugh about it. It's like, this is your campaign strategy? Hey, women, lie to your husbands.
Well, I mean, this coming from the party that is so pro-woman, even though they can't tell you what that is, they think that the women are so weak and ridiculous that they have to sneak around.
Yeah. So the point of all this is to say my wife and I had, as you and I had, just kind of a frank conversation before we went in to vote. And we were kind of going through the different offices, and we agreed on all of the things, and we walked through each of those offices, whether it was Trump or Braun or, Andy Horning, because Jim Banks is too, chicken to debate, or the judges or whatever. Like we talked through all these things and we agreed. And as we got to the last one, I said, all right, what do we do about this attorney general's race? And this has been the one, I am always amazed when you hear these people who are like, I'll make my mind up on my way to the polls. Like, I put so much effort into this because I always look at it as people have fought, they have died, they have sacrificed. I think about like my grandfather who fought the Nazis during, World War II. I think about all of these people who gave all of this stuff, and for you to half-baked your vote, like, I'll make it up the day of, or I'll figure it out on my way over there. Like, come on, can't you put a little more effort into, if you put more effort into, choosing what fast food restaurant you're going to go to than you do voting, I think you're doing society wrong, and this is why we're in the position we're in. So, I said, look, we got to have a conversation about this. We got to figure out what we're doing with this. And the real conundrum I had was, I don't think Todd Rokita's done a very good job as Attorney General. I think he's been political in the office when it's a non-political office. I think, as we've seen when he went on Fox News and talked about that abortion doctor, that not only did he get himself in hot water, I think she ended up getting less of a punishment that she otherwise would have gotten. We're talking about that abortion doctor who performed the abortion on the young girl from Ohio, and then talked about it to the media, and that became a huge firestorm. Rokita goes on Fox News, got in the disciplinary. I think he's going to go in front of there's a strong chance, who knows what they're actually going to do, but there's a strong chance he's going to get punished again from the disciplinary commission and the state Supreme Court. It could be even worse than what he got the last time. And all of those things don't set well with me, and we've talked about this. But I think the Attorney General, you're the chief law enforcement officer for the state. Your job is to call it down the middle,
uphold the laws,
and the Constitution of the state. However, opposite of Rokita is someone who I firmly believe would treat the office exactly the same as him, yet her political beliefs are, look, I agree with most of Rokita's politics. That's the thing, right? Like, I agree with most of the things that he says. If he were
it's just the execution.
Right. If he were senator or congressman, I would have zero problem with any of it. But on the other side is Destiny Wells, a woman who would treat the office exactly the same, I believe. She would totally politicize the office as well. And her politics are the exact opposite
of yours,
of mine.
Yeah.
And she is obsessed with an issue that to me and my family is at the top, if not the top issue, which is she is obsessed with on-demand abortion. She campaigns with these people. She talks about it all the time. She is like proud. She wants, I mean, you've like seen all of this stuff play out. And so I'm stuck with this real conundrum here because I believe votes are earned. And I don't believe Rokita's done a good job in the office. But if the person's going to be in there is going to do the exact same thing that he has done, except it's going to be the opposite of the politics that I have.
Right.
What do I do here?
So what did you do?
Well, this is where, unlike this bizarro Democrat ad where they're telling people to lie to your spouse, because I went in before I went to the booth thinking, okay, I'm going to leave this blank. And my wife and I had a long conversation about this. And as pro-life people, as people who have put this at the top of issues that we care and vote about.
I'm going to guess I know what you did.
What?
You think that Todd Rokita is going to protect that vision better, so you voted for him.
Well, how could we possibly, and this is the conversation we had, and this is why spouses should be able to have conversations, because my mind got changed. When I left here yesterday, I left with the intention of leaving it blank. And we talked about this and said, how is we, people who value life, people who talk about life, people who and rightfully so, say that defenseless babies in the womb have the same rights, should have the same rights that we do, the right to live, the right to create their own destiny, the right to live life. How could we possibly, if we believe both people are going to do the same thing, how could we possibly risk turning this over to a person who not only, it's not that she's pro-abortion, that's her thing. There's zero chance she would defend Indiana's abortion law. There's zero chance that she would uphold that in a court of law. So I felt dirty when I voted for McCain, but I was a college kid back then.
Okay.
As a grown man adult, I've never really felt, dirty's not the right word, but I did vote for Todd Rokita.
There it is.
Without any passion whatsoever. But I thought my wife, and this is why spouses should be able to have these conversations. I felt she made the good point, which is we are pro-life people. And if you're getting the same thing, if I did not vote for Attorney General in 2020, I left it blank. I didn't, because I thought Rokita would be this, and Jonathan Wines-Apple, the Democrat, hadn't done anything to earn my vote.
If you're going to get politics in the Attorney General's office, you might as well go with the guy who is on the same side as you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean Rokita and I are going to be buddies or hanging out at the Bellagio, and my opinions of Rokita still stand. Look, I still think there's a strong chance he's going to get in some serious trouble with this disciplinary commission over these actions. But here in my mind, I said, okay, well, if Braun's the governor, then Braun, let's say by some chance he got kicked out. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it theoretically could. Well, then Braun would make the pick, and I think Braun would put somebody very conservative in there that would uphold the laws and the Constitution. If the Democrats, and I said this about McCormick, and I've said it about Destiny Wells and McCrae, but she's totally irrelevant against Banks. I do not understand why the Democrats cannot just nominate normal, middle-of-the-road people who will campaign on competency in the office, especially like something like Attorney General,
right,
and leave the politics out of it. I totally would have been open if there had been a candidate running on the other side who would say, look, regardless of my political beliefs, my job is to uphold the laws of the state of Indiana, and that includes every single law that we have, including the abortion law, and I will no doubt defend that law. That sort of campaigner I would have been open to voting for, but they keep putting these extremists out there that are just complete non-starters who they're not going to do that.
Well, she'll have the opportunity to run for another office position soon enough, right, where she can have her opinions.
So, yes, she'll run again. So there you go. We're an open book here, and I was laughing at that because those ads, it's like my wife and I had this conversation, and she told me how she felt about something.
Well, isn't that ad very much so an indictment on that couple's relationship?
Well, of course it is.
Which is interesting that if that woman is in a position where, I don't know, she can't be financially independent, she should be voting for Donald Trump then, because he's the one who's proposing the tax cuts and the focus on business growth, all things that will help women with their financial independence.
Yeah.
So the whole commercial is backwards, and it's just, more insults from Democrats against women.
Yeah, we got to get serious. If you're a conservative, if you're a liberty person, you got to start getting real serious about this life issue, because there is no more moderation left in the Democrat Party. They are for on-demand abortion from conception to live birth. They do not want restrictions. They do not want limits. And if you're a pro-life person, you got to start getting real serious about this, about who you're voting for, because they are not going to stop.
Okay, before we go into break, let's have a funny political ad. Now, this one is just a spoof, but I like it.
Hi, I'm Gil Fulbright. The people that run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm Philip a mouth with farts, and I approve this message.
And one other thing I did want to clarify, because, and I know we talked about this earlier, but we had some people that were very emphatic about this. When you and I talked about yesterday about, and I did the same thing with you, a strong, independent woman. I said, Casey, should I vote to retain these judges? And you said yes, and I did. We are talking about these Supreme Court justices. Some people were like, these Marion County justices got to go. I said, well, first of all, I don't live in Marion County.
Right.
So I can't vote on those.
You don't get that option.
And I would vote no on those judges if I had a say. But I just wanted to clarify to everybody, I was talking solely about, and Casey was talking solely about
different
the
judges.
Supreme Court judges.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. Election night 2024.
The most important election.
Real change.
Incredibly pivotal moment.
Insight, analysis, opinion.
The results.
Complete election day coverage.
Never been anything like
the American people.
Drill, baby, drill.
Tuesday, November 5th. Election night and beyond.
All just the beginning.
Choose 93 WIBC, your election information station.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0198. That's 800-291-0198. 800-291-0198.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Bill Klontz Heating and Cooling, where there's a new owner, Danny Polson, who's excited to keep up the tradition of putting the customer first.
With our merger of Bill Klontz Heating and Cooling and P&K Plumbing, our ultimate goal is to provide great customer service at a reasonable price while also providing a great product. If we see a smile on the customer's face at the end of the job, then we know we did our job right.
Just go to BillKlontz.com, CLONTZ. Bill Klontz Heating and Cooling is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
J.D. Vance did the podcast with Joe Rogan. One of the things that he said during the podcast is that he knows a senator with serious vaccine side effects, and that senator doesn't want to talk about it. Vance went on to say that he knows quite a few people who have been vaccine injured, and they don't want to talk about it because they're scared of being labeled an anti-vaxxer.
So Vance went on with Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, you've seen part of this now?
Yeah, I think I listened to the first half hour.
And?
I enjoyed it. I think J.D. Vance is a great speaker. He's got interesting stories, and he's funny. He's got a good sense of humor.
It was even longer than Trump's.
Was
like
it?
3.5 hours.
So it wasn't super boring? Because he strikes me as super boring. Vance.
No. I mean, I've only listened to part of it, but from what I heard, it was entertaining.
I didn't think, I did the clips.
Did you have you listened to it?
I did the whole Trump thing from beginning to end.
Yeah.
But the J.D. Vance one, no, I just listened to the clips, and it was still pretty good.
So you do wonder, I get it from Rogan's perspective, because it's like strike while the iron's hot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's election season. These guys are going to be useless to you after the election. But okay, if Trump was on there, okay, I wasn't sold on Trump, but I was sold on Vance. Like, I wonder what the thinking was having Vance go on after Trump.
Well, why not take advantage of it, right?
I guess.
It was a more organized conversation. Like, they really...
Less weave.
Yeah. Like Rogan didn't have to try so hard to keep J.D. Vance on track like he did with Trump.
Well, Kevin and I were talking about this earlier in the show during one of the breaks. Trump is, and it's everything with Trump, right? It's like there's never just this is great. It's just there's always some caveat to it. And we were laughing because Trump is like some sort of cartoon or comic character come to life where you're going to get these amazing things like, now this hilarious cartoon character is working at McDonald's and it's hilarious and awesome. Mm-hmm. Or now he's in a garbage truck with the vest on.
What's the economy right now, Rob? People need multiple jobs.
And so you're watching this going, okay, he's the only guy who could pull this off and make this good. Mm-hmm. But then he's on with Rogan and he gets asked this pretty direct, straightforward, hit it out of the park question about like, what was it? I forget how it was phrased.
What was the first day of office like?
And you're looking for some sort of answer like, oh, I was just in awe. You walk in there and you see all of these things and all these pictures and you recognize all these great men. And like there's a million different ways you can knock that out of the park. And he ends up in some meandering weave about the Lincoln bedroom. As you can see, the bed is big because Lincoln was tall. He had a kid named Tad. He died. Lincoln was sad. They didn't call it depression back then. It was melancholy. There's Tad. Tiny picture of Tad.
I imagine the reason why he went there because that wasn't his first time in the White House.
Well, I know.
And the thing that struck him was that he had never been in the Lincoln bedroom in his multiple visits to the White House, and that's what he wanted to see.
I get it, Casey, but what I'm saying is I'm screaming at my television, answer the question!
Yeah, because Trump was kind of not Trump, but Rogan was getting a little frustrated.
That's my point. So you get these, sometimes it's like there's home runs presented to you, and he won't either, I don't know if he doesn't understand it or what. You get this long weave, which is funny to us, but then it's just maddening to people. And so it's like, if I could just combine Vance and Trump into some sort of super politician, because Vance is like clearly very smart.
Yeah,
and
can we sprinkle in a little Ron DeSantis?
I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure you listen to that and he answers. Okay, ask question, get answer. Ask question, get answer. And he's an interesting guy, so it's probably a good listen. But I just like, there's just times where Trump does things, and it's like, I'll tell you a great example of this, and when it bit Trump in the backside was during the debate with Kamala when he got asked about abortion. And the answer to abortion is very simple. Trump should say, I did what Ruth Bader Ginsburg for years said should be done, which is Roe was wrongly decided and it should go back to the states. And now it is in the hands of the states. And some states have more restrictive policies and some states have less restrictive policies. And now it is now in the hands of the people. And you get to decide. We took it away from the politicians. We gave it to you. Stop. Done. We're done here. That's the answer to the question. But he kept going back and forth, and he's giving some states are a little more liberal, some not, and he's getting the governor wrong, and he's all, it's like, just stop.
Well, and that's the biggest argument for all of these people who say, oh, he wants to take our rights away. No, actually, he's giving them to you. You actually now have a say on how this goes compared to the COVID vaccine, which was mandated on you.
Right. So you mentioned, anyway, how did you start this segment? We're
talking about J.D. Vance being on Rogan.
But what'd you say about the COVID? He was talking about the people who were harmed by the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, he mentioned during the podcast that he knows a senator who has been injured.
Well, why don't you tell your story, Casey? I mean, you have two people in your family who got the COVID vaccine at a separate, they got it together at a separate location than you. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, they end up with very similar, bizarro ailments that in both cases could have cost them their lives.
Yeah, well, and it nearly did for both of them. And
there's no way that's a coincidence. There's no way. This is not like it's like they had the cold, right? I mean, what are the odds that two people of totally different ages who get the same thing, you don't go with them and get it there. You're fine. It doesn't happen to you, and it happens to basically the same thing happens to both of those people.
Yeah, and they both started getting sick right around the same time as well.
There's no way you're going to convince me that's a coincidence. And it's an example of the government will still not level with the people, which is it never stopped anybody from getting COVID. It didn't prevent you from spreading COVID. People still died who had the vaccine, and a lot of people who got that vaccine ended up dying of stuff that certainly wasn't COVID or have severe illnesses.
Yeah, but you know what? And I haven't shared this with our listeners because I was gone a couple weeks ago, and my daughter had surgery a while back. And so we went to go visit her. She was in Johns Hopkins getting some stuff done, and she's in remission now. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great, fantastic news, and I'm so happy about that. And the dude is healthy now as well, and fingers crossed we can put all of that stupid vaccine nonsense behind us and move forward. And that is a big determiner of how I'm voting. That I'm never going to let that happen again, ever. You're not going to tell me what I have to put in my body.
A clean-shaven Kurt Darling is just itching to give you the news when we come back.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Not very many jobs. It's sunny and 46 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. A final jobs report before Election Day can be summed up as a big miss. Numbers out today with the Bureau of Labor Statistics show the economy added just 12,000 new jobs last month. That's way below predictions. The Bureau says that it was likely due to many temporary factors, which it says are like the Boeing strike as well as hurricane season. Where the candidates plan to be on election night, Fox's Jared Halpern.
After spending Election Day Eve in Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris will spend Election Night in D.C. at her alma mater, Howard University. She graduated from the historically black university in 1986. She is the first HBCU graduate to serve as vice president. Former President Trump will spend Tuesday night closer to home. His campaign has planned an election watch party at the Palm Beach Convention Center, not far from Mar-a-Lago. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Ford is blaming a slower than expected demand for electric vehicles for pausing production at one of its plants. Ford announced that it will idle its Ford F-150 Lightning plant in Dearborn, Michigan, from mid-November until sometime in January. I'm Kurt Darling on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my entire family's obsessed with all things Wicked, but my kids can't stop watching the trailer, and now they're having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Do you think our internet can handle all of the streaming and memeing going on?
Well, we've engineered our Xfinity gateways to handle hundreds of devices at once, so they can all stay magically connected.
Wow. Are you a wizard?
I wish. No, just someone that won't let a bad connection burst your internet bubble.
Now through December 22nd, get Thrillifyingly fast 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $35 a month for 12 months with no annual contract and free Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com to switch today. Keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen. And see Wicked, only in theaters November 22nd. Restrictions apply. Requires privilege bill and auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply. Currently $56 a month for internet service and $15 for Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary, not guaranteed.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
It is time for your voicemails at 317-684-8444. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And this first one is about garbage men.
John, garbage man. I've been one for years. If I could ride on the back, I would ride on the back all day. I drive a side load. I run by myself. But in the days where we run the rear loads, and I was a driver. If I had another driver, I'd ride the back.
So you were talking about how many people are on the truck.
Right. So we kind of had a debate. Would you rather be the guy driving the truck or the guy on the back of the truck? Because the driver seems like that would be an easier job, but the on the truck might be more fun because you're rolling down the road. And then a bunch of people are like, well, I think most garbage trucks are single operated now because of the way the arm or whatever can operate and can pick the things up, et cetera. And that's what we kind of got from people. There are still some that are dual, but a lot of them now are going to single operator trucks.
I don't think you ever said, did you say you'd rather be on the back swinging and jumping off?
No. I'd rather drive.
You'd rather be driving.
Like Rick Nelson saying, if memories were all I sang, I'd rather drive a truck. That'd be me.
Okay. This is Indiana Joe calling from Texas. And we had a conversation about how you sway people, and he wanted to weigh in on this.
It's Indiana Joe down in Texas. I'm listening to your conversation on what sways people, and this is as old as the Bible. It's just human nature. Men are swayed and influenced by what they see. Women are swayed and influenced by what they hear. So you can distill that down to that's why women wear makeup and men lie.
That's good stuff. That's great.
Have you heard that men are more visual than women?
Oh, that's excellent. That's so spot on.
Okay, and this last call is about Trump and how people say he just wants power.
People say that Donald Trump is just interested in power. Well, what good is that power if you don't yield it? And all he wants to do is build business. He's a businessman. There used to be a president that had a sign on his desk that said, the business of America is business.
Well, I think Donald Trump does want to help the country. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But we're not going to lie to you and be like, Donald Trump is not in it for himself at all. I mean, come on.
There's a little bit of that.
I mean, come on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so yesterday while he was talking on The View, Mark Cuban said that Donald Trump did not surround himself with strong, intelligent women.
That's right.
And what about Alina Habba?
Well,
she's a pretty smart cookie.
This didn't end well for him, right? And, of course, there was a flood of people, and they pointed out all of the people, the women that have been very successful in business or whatever, that have been a part of either his administration or his time on The Apprentice or obviously in his, developer casino days. I mean, that's ludicrous. Okay, you may not like these people, which that's fine. It'd be like me saying there's not a single successful person who has Kamala Harris has surrounded herself with. Well, of course, Mark Cuban is super successful. Of course, Mark Cuban is a billionaire. Of course, he lived an incredibly interesting life, and he has achieved wealth beyond anyone's imagination. I mean, that's like ludicrous. You can say, I think you're an idiot for associating with Kamala Harris, but I don't think it's fair to say that there are no strong, independent, successful women who have surrounded themselves by Donald Trump has surrounded himself with.
All right, well, let's hear from Donald Trump's lawyer, who is a strong, intelligent woman.
I just got off a plane, so pardon my delay in responding to Mark Cuban's disgusting misogynistic remarks. Some reservos. Michael Cohen on 3 levels, just confirmed and denied by the Supreme Court of the United States. I'm licensed in 4 states. I graduated college in 3 years. Savage v. Trump. By the way, I could keep going, but those are the cases I win. And your left-wing media and your rhetoric, and you're putting women down. See, President Trump doesn't do that. He surrounds himself with strong women like me. So Mark Cuban, you can go to hell.
Oh.
I'm voting for Trump because I want my daughter to never, ever be around people that speak like you do.
Well, and what they're basically he's trying to say is if you're an independent woman, there's no way you can vote for Kamala, which is insulting because think about women who, okay, maybe they haven't risen to the level of a cabinet position or run a company. There's tons of women in this world, millions of women in this world who are totally independent. They're in happy marriages, but they're independent of their husbands. They make their own choices. They do their own things. They have their own careers. I mean, I think you and your husband are a great example, right? Like you're married, but you have your life. You make your choices. You moved down here for this position because you wanted, as an independent person, you said, I want this position. Your husband said, great, we'll go there. I work in a position where I can do that. I think about in my life. My wife has a great job. She makes her choice where she works. She spends her money on what she wants to spend it. Like, what does that mean? Independent people wouldn't be supporting Donald Trump. I mean, you don't have to be a CEO or or some cabinet position or some government official to be strong and independent. Most women are independent. They're in good marriages or happy marriages, or they love their husbands, but they do their own thing. They live their own lives. They raise their kids together. I mean, like, it's just, the whole thing was just ridiculous that he said. And I would imagine as soon as the words came out of his mouth, he didn't even need to go to Twitter.
Right.
He knew as soon as the words came out of his mouth.
It didn't come across the way he meant it. And of course, that's why he's apologizing today.
And real quick, before we get off this. Now, like we said, politics is a big boy sport, and it's a full contact sport, and we're going to be consistent here on this show. We're talking about this because the left wants to cry crocodile tears over some comedian saying Puerto Rico is a garbage country because of all the mainstream media's national stories about the garbage problem in Puerto Rico. Well, okay, if that's worthy of Jennifer Lopez practically breaking down in tears at a campaign event, then yeah, calling somebody garbage or saying women who support Trump or women around Trump aren't strong and independent, that's a much bigger deal. But my whole thing is, all of this stuff is largely semantics. It just fires people up. And
again, another gaffe from them, though, that is backfiring, because now you have all of these women who are coming out and they're saying, no, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, and here's why I'm voting for Donald Trump. Jobs, money, community safety, support for small businesses, conservative judges, choices in education, ending wars, bringing troops home, parental rights, and not mandatory vaccines. Those are some of my reasons.
Yeah.
Hammer's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
3:06 is when we crack the microphone. We are the Hammer and Nigel Show. We have the best coverage of the Delphi trial. Plus, it's Beer Sample Friday, 93 WIBC.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
If you're asking, how much money do I need to retire? You're asking the wrong question. The question you should really be asking is, how much money do I need every month to cover my expenses in retirement? Then it's just a matter of creating different sources of income to cover your expenses. Discover how you could turn your savings into a guaranteed stream of income in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. Call him at 317-648-5120.
We trust Bill Demery to help us with planning for retirement. He's our retirement guy, and you can trust him too. Bill breaks things down in a way that we can all understand. And if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement, call Bill right now, 317-648-5120. Social Security alone won't be enough. Contact Bill Demery, 317-648-5120, 648-5120.
Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. I'm here with Michaela to talk about water damage. Water damage at your home or business can come from heavy rains, broken or frozen pipes, and countless other ways. Michaela, if someone has a loss due to water, why should they call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local, family-owned Indianapolis company with 39 years experience. We are manning the phones and ready to help 24/7, 365. Michaelis specializes in water damage restoration, is IICRC certified, and will restore your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
I know a big part of getting back to normal is dealing with the insurance company. Can Michaelis help there?
Yes, Michaelis works through the entire process on your behalf to make it easy and give you peace of mind.
If you have water damage, call the Michaelis Corporation. Water, storms, fire, and mold, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
JMV here. Miss M's Home and Garden has everything you need to finish fall outright. Come find the best fall selection of nursery stock in Johnson County and save when you buy. Miss M's has 30 to 50% off trees and shrubs. That's right, all trees and shrubs at least 30% off. Enjoying all the fall colors around your area. Add them to your landscape now for color this fall and next season as well. Miss M's located on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers. That's why the Indiana State Police Alliance has endorsed Todd Rokita for re-election. They know Todd Rokita is protecting our jobs, protecting us from crime, and working to end illegal immigration, always putting Hoosiers first. Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers.
Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
There he is from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show, Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, and #1 rated Kendall and Casey show. WIBC, once again, #1 in the city of Indianapolis. And the thing is, this isn't even the election ratings book. So again, thank you to everybody who tunes in. We hope you're informed. We hope you're entertained. And yeah, that's awesome. Good news.
I was told nobody was listening.
Yes. So I anticipate a big email from all of our bosses and, some sort of parade to be thrown in our honor the way that, Hank or B or TLC gets.
So just to put this in perspective, by market share, I believe we are the most listened to talk radio station in America. And I don't know, maybe you can find one somewhere in these major cities. Is there another talk radio station that's number one in their market? I mean, I think
in a very blue city, let's be honest. And I'm excited because each one of our shows are so different. I think that's what makes IBC work, right? Tony Katz does a different show than you guys do. You guys do a different show than what Nigel and I do. But the listeners, man, they're the most loyal people I've ever been around in my entire broadcast career. So God bless you guys for tuning in to all of our programs. And we still got a lot of big stuff to talk about. Don't go anywhere because we've got the election, we got Delphi, and we also like to have a little fun.
Okay, so let's talk about Delphi real quick. There's still I don't buy these confessions for a minute. And you and I were talking about this yesterday. That this judge, what is the deal with this judge? I mean, that the warden, was it 2 days ago now? The warden was on the stand and the judge didn't allow the defense to try to impeach his credibility. I mean, I have never seen a judge behave like this before, and I don't know what her deal is, but man, is it an ugly look, and man, is it really tainting the trial, in my opinion.
And the fact that she used to be pro-camera in the courtroom, because heading into this, I think a lot of people had credibility issues about what was going on, right? There's a lot of controversy. And then when she banned all the cameras and blamed it on court TV doing something, it just felt like a cover-up. Now, Donnie Burgess is doing yeoman's work. He is busting his backside. The pool reporters, they're all sharing notes in this that are going to court, out of court, sharing notes. That's how we're getting updates and information. But, man, I think if you would have had camera in this courtroom, just one dedicated camera.
Right.
One feed.
You didn't have to look at the jury. You could just look at the judge and listen to the audio. You didn't have to see the crime scene pictures.
Right.
It would have gone a long way for transparency.
Yep, absolutely.
And the last thing that I want is the parents of these two little girls to feel like this trial was a sham.
Well, and it's bringing up all of these horrible, horrific memories for them and visuals, and to think that they were doing it all just because the state just wanted to wrap it up already.
Yeah, the state has rested their case, and now we turn to the defense, and we'll see what they have to say. So we're still a long way to go. Just because the prosecution has rested doesn't mean we're anywhere near the finish line.
You buy any of those confessions?
Man, I don't. I got to be honest. This is just my opinion. I'm just one man, and I'm going by the notes that I get from the pool reporters and all that kind of stuff. They cannot pin this on Richard Allen because there's no DNA.
Right.
Now, was he at the trail? Maybe. But that doesn't mean he murdered two girls. And if he did murder these two girls, the state has not done a good job in saying, this is why we know you were the guy.
Yeah, well, there's definitely some doubt, I think, in my mind. I would assume in the jury's mind, and the judge instructed them that if there is any doubt, you have to lean towards innocence.
Reasonable doubt is the thing, and that's what Guy Relford talks about when he joins us at 5 every day. You might not like Richard Allen. You might think he's a weirdo and a scumbag, and hell, maybe he did it. I don't know. But is there reasonable doubt that he didn't do it? And right now, my gut feeling is that there is reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
You do Halloween last night?
We did, man, and I love it. Again, as I get older, and Casey can back me up here, when your daughter got older, you kind of miss seeing your little kiddos running around in the costumes and the kind of stuff. And so my boys are older now, and they're doing other stuff. But it's always cool to see the neighborhood lit up and the little ghosts running around getting candy.
Did you get any trash men? People dressed up like Trump as a trash man or anything?
Best costume I saw last night was Indiana Fever Caitlin Clark, but she had a black eye and like crutches. Like it was part of the costume because she got beat up so much playing in the WNBA.
That's
I
awesome.
thought that was brilliant. But we had a lot of trick-or-treaters.
I didn't have a single trick-or-treater. At one point, I heard a group of kids walk by, and I almost went out to them to say, take this candy from me because I don't want to ear in the house. But not a single trick-or-treater.
Rob, I assume you probably just turned your porch light off or just passed out Hall's mental leptus.
Well, I have a 16-month-old who goes to bed, and I have a dog that's hanging on by a thread. So I didn't think a bunch of people coming to the door would be good for either one of them. I used to leave the candy out until the a-hole teenager stole it all.
Yeah.
So what was the point in doing that? So no, next year I will. When my kid is old enough not to have to go to bed at 7 o'clock. And would you like to insult my dog that's hanging on by a thread now while you're at it?
I thought he was already dead.
Oh, no.
How is Bruce doing?
He's hanging on by a thread.
But what does that mean, though? Is he like just walking around crapping himself? Are you cutting the poop out of his fur? Is he like, I think he's going to be okay, but if I wake up tomorrow and he's dead, I wouldn't be surprised.
I would say he had a bit of a relapse. They changed his medicine. That appears to be working, but he's the equivalent of 150 years old for a bulldog. So at this point, it's just, it's been 2 months. So the fact that we got 2 months, it's just like bonus time at this point. However, because of the medicine that he takes, it does start to give him a higher level of anxiety. So we made a decision that with the child sleeping and not wanting to be woken up, and we didn't exactly want him going nuts every time somebody came to now I would gladly leave the candy on the porch.
Somebody ruined it.
But they abused it, and they stole all my candy a couple years ago, and my wife had to stop me from running into the street to track down the teenagers.
All joking aside, Bruce Kendall is my second favorite Kendall. It's Livy, it's Bruce, it's Gabby,
and the wife.
It's Rob, and then your no good rotten dad.
You love that Tennessee outfit you got for Livy, by the way. What's coming up this afternoon?
It's Beer Sample Friday. So we have a lot of fun lined up, but we're also going to get you up to date on Delphi 306, 505. And man, tune in. We'll laugh, we'll cry. You might even get a cheap laugh or two.
By the way, 4-0 on your bets last night on Degenerates Next Door podcast. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice
Sweep
work.
that night, baby. Sweep that
Download
night.
the
Nice work.
podcast.
Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics. especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick. She's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is a proud veteran-owned company. 317-557-8532. Don't forget to get out and vote.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess reports as the Delphi murders trial enters the second half, plus where a teenager was shot and killed Halloween night here in Indianapolis, and why these particular children are excited to see Taylor Swift tonight. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
There's been a lot less hiring across America. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Way less than expected last month, and this morning's report that also showed August and September hiring revised down by 112,000 jobs.
While the unemployment rate was unchanged at 4.1%, the Labor Department says just 12,000 jobs were added last month, the fewest in nearly 4 years.
Fox's Jared Halbert at the White House.
In a statement, the president says he expects job growth to rebound next month as hurricane recovery continues. Since taking office, President Biden says 16 million jobs have been created, with incomes up and inflation down to nearly its 2% target.
No, it's the last big economic report before the election, but more than 64 million Americans have already voted early, setting records in some states, including Georgia, where early voting ends today. Same for Arizona and Nevada also toss-up states.
For Republicans here in the state, so far, they like what they're seeing. According to the latest numbers from the Nevada Secretary of State, Republicans are outpacing both Democrats and third-party or nonpartisan voters.
Fox's Jeff Paul in Las Vegas. Former President Trump and Vice President Harris both held rallies in Nevada last night, and also both will rally tonight in Wisconsin. The former president will also go to Michigan. And as he keeps making record illegal immigration and migrant crime an issue, there is a hearing this morning in Georgia in the case against a man in the U.S. illegally charged with murdering a nursing student, Laken Riley, while she was out jogging in February in Athens. He is Jose Ibarra.
The hearing is set to focus on the use of DNA evidence. Prosecutors say DNA from Riley's fingernails is some of their evidence against the suspect, and Ibarra's defense argues that the warrant for his DNA was not based on probable cause and should be tossed out.
Fox's Madison Scarpino outside the court in New York City, opening statements today at former Marine Daniel Penny's trial. He's white, charged with manslaughter, choking a black homeless man on a subway train last year. Penny claims Jordan Neely was threatening people and demanding money. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What they plan to do now. It's 44 and mostly sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Prosecutors rested their case in the Delphi murders trial on Thursday. Donnie Burgess with more.
The final round of prison confessions from Allen were played Thursday, and these included much of what you've heard about before. Generalized statements about killing Abigail Williams and Liberty German. But one issue for the defense is Allen's confession claim that a nearby van scared him out of sexually assaulting the girls back in 2017. The defense will attempt to disprove that and other aspects of the murder timeline throughout today and this weekend. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A teenager shot and killed late Thursday on the east side. It happened near Cumberland Road and East 21st while kids were still out trick-or-treating.
It's a great time for the kids, and to have a violent, tragic event happen in their neighborhood really is very disturbing.
IMPD officer Rob Ryder, so far no arrests. They also haven't said if they're looking for any suspects. A Muncie man is in jail after attacking his ex-girlfriend following a breakup. Ryan Hedrick reports.
It was Wednesday night when police got a call to an apartment complex. A woman had just returned home from the grocery store when she told them she saw a man hiding in the bushes. That man emerged from the bushes and got behind her, pulled out a gun, put it away, and pulled out a knife and stabbed her 20 times. The person who stabbed her was her ex-boyfriend, Keywine Gibson, who she had broken up with weeks before that. He's in jail and charged with attempting to kill her. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gas is averaging $3.06 a gallon again today, says GasBuddy.com, the second day in a row. Taylor Swift will be performing the first of 3 shows at Lucas Oil Stadium tonight. Among those in attendance will be Carol Lee Cardi.
I thought that it was really cool because it's my first concert ever. I love Taylor Swift. She's one of my favorite singers.
And she's going to be among 14 kids from Riley Hospital who got free tickets to see the show tonight. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Mike loves the fall in Indy, but he hates to paint, so he called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced. We save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, November 1st. It's 5 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So yesterday, Donald Trump lent his voice to a tele-rally. This was for Mike Braun, who's running for governor. Tele-rally. That's a new one.
So this was kind of weird the way they did this. By the way, there ended up being they said 1 million people on this phone call, which is incredible. But the way it went down was I got called, and Hammer and I were putting together the sports betting podcast, so I didn't have time to do it. I got called. They left a message where it was like, this is the state Republican Party or whatever, whoever made the phone call, and you're invited to join a teletown hall between Mike Braun and Donald Trump. You enter this code or whatever, and you can get in on the thing and basically listen to them. He's on a phone somewhere, Trump, and so is Braun, and they're clearly just talking back and forth, and you can listen to him tell you why they think they should vote for Braun. Now, I don't know how they know exactly how many people were on. There must be some way to track it. That's pretty impressive if they indeed got 1 million people in a state of 7 million.
Yeah.
However, I did find it interesting, and one of the things I don't maybe they just found out last minute that he was going to do it or what, but they didn't promote it. It wasn't.
No, it just seemed to happen.
It organically kind of happened, and that seems like a pretty big deal that I would have wanted out there for people. Hey, Trump and Braun are doing this town hall thing, but clearly they got a bunch of people to be involved, and Trump, no, not surprisingly, is supporting Braun. He supported him when he ran for Senate in 2018 and backed him for governor this time. And look, I've heard in internals, there's one candidate that's got an internal poll that was done that had Braun up 10. There was a public survey that came out without rainwater that had Braun up 12. I've been told other internals are at 7 or 8-ish. The Democrats clearly don't have. I talked to somebody last night, and they agreed with this. The Democrats clearly don't have a poll that shows them within what you and I might call striking distance, or they'd put it out there. They clearly don't have anything showing them tied. They don't even have anything showing them within 3 or 4, because they would put that out there. You look at the money has come in. Yeah, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, but that's right across the border, went and campaigned for McCormick. But you're not seeing Barack Obama roll in. You're not seeing Bill Clinton. You're not seeing, if the race were really close
enough,
they would handle it differently than they are handling it. And I think they had extra money to burn because of that knucklehead flaming out in North Carolina, and they thought that governor's race was going to be close, and they ended up not having to spend money there. So it's not going to be a landslide, I don't think, for Braun, but I think it'll be it'll be 6, 7, 8 points when it's all said and done, maybe more.
So it wasn't interactive. It wasn't town hall. You couldn't submit questions.
No,
you couldn't ask questions when you're on the call.
No, I don't think so. I think this was just like I said, I was not. When I got the message, they said, "Oh, you could activate it," and I said, "Well, we got this podcast put together. I don't have time to do this."
Come on, priorities.
I mean, I'd kind of already made up my mind who I was voting for, so it wasn't. But it is interesting. The Republicans definitely have had to put more resources into this race than I think they thought, and I think Braun has admitted this multiple times. I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds here. Eric Holcomb offended a lot of Republicans over the past 7 years, conservatives, the liberty wing of the Republican Party, and it's taken a lot of effort by Braun to win those people back because, look, he wants to be a different governor than Eric Holcomb. He wants to get back to lowering taxes and being more accountable and being more transparent and doing the school choice stuff. He wants to get back to the more traditional conservative form of governance, but Holcomb burned a lot of bridges with the right, and it's unfortunately Braun's had to put that mess back together.
And Holcomb has become very much like Joe Biden. You just don't hear anything from him. I saw something that he did. Well, they have a new puppy.
Oh,
Ollie.
Great.
Little miniature schnauzer.
Fabulous.
Cute little puppy, right? But that's the only thing I've really heard from Holcomb other than when he announced the nonstop flights to Ireland.
Well, and we talked about this, the post that somebody made earlier, Chris Spangle, our friend of the show, about where are Holcomb and Hogsett in terms of what the plan is for security of the capital city on election night. I mean, there's a strong chance that there could be some violence break out in the city of Indianapolis. We've obviously seen it before. Holcomb and Hogsett had no plan for the summer of 2020.
Right.
They clearly have learned nothing. There's the National Guard, along with IMPD, you were 5 days out from the election. You'd think you would have that very clearly spelled out on what's going to take place, and there's none of that. Holcomb is a rotten governor. He's a guy who lucked into the position. He was dead last in a U.S. Senate race. He got saved by Mike Pence. He would have been a forgotten, I don't even know, you call him a footnote in time, if he hadn't got plucked to be lieutenant governor when conveniently Sue Ellspermann, of all the people in the state, was the most qualified person to run Ivy Tech and resign as lieutenant governor. Obviously, then, thanks in part to help from his buddy Jamie Knoll, Holcomb was put across the finish line in that Central Committee picking the replacement for Mike Pence when he was tapped to be vice president. I mean, all the cards just fell right for Holcomb. The guy is totally unqualified. He had no business being here. He's run primarily as a Democrat, which is why all those Democrats voted for him in 2020, which is why he won, even though all those Republicans left and voted for Rainwater. And the Democrats have returned to McCormick. And so Braun has had to try to reassure those Republicans, hey, it's going to be a new tune, a new era when I get in there for the next 4 years.
It's interesting because the spin the Indy Star put on it was that this is just another sign that this is closer than is comfortable for Braun and Beckwith. They don't want it, so they've got to call up old friend Donald Trump to help him out once again.
Well, I don't think Braun is up 15 points. I think Braun's race is going to be closer than Banks, or I think it's going to be closer than Rokita. Certainly Rokita and Destiny Wells, because there's no libertarian running. And so I think if you're Braun, and this is something that I actually really like about Braun. This is one of the early conversations when Braun and I were discussing, hey, how does this look if I'm going to potentially support you? You know, one of the things that they talked about and was very impressive to me is we don't just want to win. We want to win with the mandate so that we can run in there with the things that are important to you and your audience. And if we win with 51, 52, 53% of the vote, that's going to be much easier for us than if we just win with 48 or 49. Either way, we're still the governor. But that was impressive to me that they were saying, look, we not only want to win, we want to win to drive an agenda. And I think that's more, as much as the media wants us to be, oh, my gosh, the race is so close. I think it's more of keeping in line with that they're trying to win every vote they possibly can so that they can effectively govern beginning next year.
Donald Trump said that you have to vote for Mike Braun because he's just an outstanding guy and that he knows him well. He backed him for Senate, and he said that worked out very nicely. And then at one point during the phone call, Donald Trump called Indiana a very special place, and he said, maybe I should move to Indiana.
Well, and I think if they were being honestly, if the Braun people are honest, that they're very fortunate Trump is the top of the ticket. If you had some year where there was apathy for the presidential candidate like a Romney or a McCain, they would probably have a much, much closer race than they're going to have.
Be a heavier lift.
Because of Trump, and obviously Trump is so affiliated with Braun and they're so closely connected. Any person who's remotely paying attention knows Trump has endorsed Braun. He supports Braun. If you're voting for Trump, then there's a good chance you're going to, in turn, not everybody, obviously, but, you know, the question to the people, the undecided people on the fence, whatever, is do you want, if you're a person who is passionate about property taxes or school choice, do you want the ability to have firepower behind that next year? And if the answer is yes, going with Braun is the only way that's going to happen. I mean, did you ever picture a world, Casey, where a Republican candidate for governor would come on this show on the regular and would publicly say, as Braun did in his last interview with us, I have immense respect for your show.
And the audience.
And more importantly, the audience. And I'm going to need your audience. What else can we ask for from this guy? This is the question I keep asking people who are still on the fence. Yeah, you should be pissed about what Holcomb did. I certainly am. There was no bigger opponent of Holcomb than me. But if the Republican candidate for governor is going to come out and go, hey, that isn't how I'm going to operate, and your show has a lot of great points of view, and your audience behind that show has a lot of great points of view, and we're simpatico on a lot of these things, and I want you guys, I want us to be a team going into next year to get these things done, well, then we would be crazy not to take that opportunity to try to make that happen.
Well, and we said it all along that, you know, when it was first happening and the primaries were going on, that, you know, hey, Mike Braun, he needs to know what's going on in Indiana because he's been in Washington a lot and he's not getting the message. He thought he was going to come in and steamroll, and that didn't happen. And I think he learned from that. And that's a mark of a leader who can change direction based on what he learned.
And you're not going to get everything you want in year one. I mean, that's just the reality of it is we got to check boxes. We got to try a new approach, and the new approach is with the very public declaration by Braun that this show's going to have a voice, that this audience is going to have a voice. Clearly, what we've tried the past 7 years hasn't worked. So it'd be crazy not to accept that and say, hey, let's take the power of WIBC audience, let's take the power that we all have collectively, and then next year, once the session starts, we'll be able to organize with the support of the governor and the lieutenant governor to be able to try to move legislators on these things that are important.
Another thing that happened is Donald Trump came out and he said that he is suing CBS News now for $10 billion for deceptively doctoring that Harris 60 Minutes interview.
So this is interesting to me because how can he claim he was harmed if he wasn't the one being
Well, he's
doctored?
saying it was election interference.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Well, good luck. Court doesn't always seem to go real well for Donald Trump, but, whatever. I mean, good.
Right. He said that CBS is trying to attempt to tip the scales in favor of the Democrat Party over him.
It's more drawing attention to it, right? That lawsuit's more about drawing attention to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what that is. He probably doesn't even care if he wins or not. It's just the fact that he's making it an issue and he's not letting it go.
But the reality is they did totally doctor that interview.
They totally did. We've got the clip. If we want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, they totally. I mean,
kind of long and boring.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They totally did doctor that clip in her favor because her answer was completely ridiculous. So he does have a point. The clip was doctored. Now, whether he is entitled to financial compensation for that would be for
Kevin, how long
decide.
is it? Is it all together?
It's 40 seconds.
40 seconds. Let's play it because I know you put a lot of hard work into putting the beep. So we've got the first part, which was the answer she gave, and then you'll hear a beep, and then it was the edited version that CBS aired.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
So I think more than anything, he's drawing attention to the propaganda machine, and this is how you at least try to make it stop. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
This is it.
This is it. This is it.
Election night 2024.
The most important election. Real change. Incredibly pivotal moment.
Insight, analysis, opinion.
The results.
Complete election day coverage.
Never been anything like the American people.
Drill, baby, drill. Tuesday, November 5th. Election night and beyond.
Still just the beginning.
Choose 93 WIBC, your election information station.
Democrats have been in power for 12 of the last 16 years. So if we aren't happy with the current political state, economic state, environmental state, then who is to blame?
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
You okay? Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey guys, it's Friday. That means Sunday's right around the corner. And this Sunday, maybe you're feeling called to something different. It could be a new church home or even a first church home. If that's you, check out Life Church. We talk about Life Church all the time on this show. We love Life Church. They've been great to me, to my family. They're warm, they're welcoming. And over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church because WIBC and Life Church have a lot in common. They're warm, they're welcoming. They'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers. That's why the Indiana State Police Alliance has endorsed Todd Rokita for re-election. They know Todd Rokita is protecting our jobs, protecting us from crime, and working to end illegal immigration, always putting Hoosiers first. Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers.
Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
So Jake Paul, the boxer, came out and he endorsed Donald Trump yesterday. And
so Jake is one's a wrestler, right?
Mhm.
And the other's a boxer, and this is the boxer.
This is the boxer. He's the one who's going to fight Mike Tyson.
Okay, November the 15th, Friday.
Mhm.
So Jake Paul and Logan Paul were these YouTuber guys, and they became almost, they were the ones who did some salacious stuff or whatever, and then they kind of went, am I remembering that right? That one of them got in trouble, they did something, or society got mad at them or whatever, and so then they went mainstream. Kev, these guys are in your orbit, right?
Not necessarily mine, but I think for people that are a year or two younger than me, I think they're pretty somewhat influential.
My point is they appeal to like Gen Z, like older millennial men. But the one's a wrestler, the one's a fighter. They're basically like famous for being famous people.
Yep.
And the fighter is fighting Mike Tyson, who I don't even know how old Mike Tyson is now. He's
58.
50. I was going to say he's darn near 60 years old.
Jake Paul's 27.
On Netflix. And
it's going to be sanctioned, by the way. So
yeah, it's a legit fight.
Yeah. It's going to go on their permanent record.
Now, they were supposed to have this a couple of months ago. Tyson had some ulcers or something that he couldn't participate, so they pushed it back to November 15th. I think it's on Netflix. I think is where it's gonna air. And obviously, both these guys are treating it like a real fight, and it's actually something you can bet on, right?
Yeah. Okay. So these are the betting odds. Jake Paul is the minus 330 favorite.
Okay. So that means so in betting. By the way, you can download and subscribe to the Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast that Hammer and I do. Plenty of college and NFL picks this weekend. Wherever you get your podcast, Degenerates Next Door. So in sports betting, the favorite is always minus. So that is the amount. So whatever the odds are, you take it off of 100. So if the odds in this case are minus 330. You would have to bet $330 in order to win $100.
Right. Okay.
So Jake Paul, that is a pretty heavy favorite. Jake Paul, if you got to risk that amount of money to make $100.
So Mike Tyson is the plus 250 underdog.
So what that means is for every $100 you bet, you would win $250. So the plus is always, it was the opposite of what you would think it would be, right? So plus is the underdog, minus is the favorite in sports betting.
So the over-under is 5.5 rounds.
Okay.
With the over priced at minus 150.
So that means, when Vegas does sports betting odds, Vegas wants even money because that's how they make their money. They want to balance out the money because ideally in Vegas, they will get what they call minus 110 odds, which means you'd have to bet $110 on both sides to win 100. That way the house can always win. Some guy's going to win, some guy's going to lose. If we get even money on both sides and we're taking 10% of the house, that's how they build big casinos, right? So you're telling me that the odds are 5.5 rounds, over, under. You can bet, will the fight go more than 5 rounds, basically. And it is minus 150 on the over.
Right.
So what they're trying to do now is they're trying to get more money on the under. Clearly more money is coming in on the fight will last at least 6 rounds, because what they're trying to do is get more money to come in on the under, because they're paying you out less. So you'd have to wager. If you think the fight will last more than 5 rounds, if you think the fight is going to last more than 5 rounds, you would have to bet $150 right now to win 100.
To win 100, yeah.
Does it say what the under is?
I'm looking. No.
So the under is probably plus money right now to get people to bet the under, because Vegas, like I said, Vegas always wants all the odds to be equal. So there's 2 ways they can do that. The major, they can either change the odds, so like they could move it if the money keeps coming in. They could say, okay, now it's over 6 rounds and pay out more, or they can continue to decrease the payout to entice people to do the under. That's how the sports betting works.
So they say that Jake Paul has improved his ring skills since his debut, and he has the ability to control the action and also avoid some of the heavy blows. He can, move and duck away, right?
And Casey is moving back and forth on the YouTube
as
camera
I say
there.
this, yeah. And that 6 of Jake Paul's last 8 matches have gone over 5.5 rounds.
Okay, so here's what you have to factor in. If I were, and I've not studied this, I will study this before. I'm sure we will talk about it on the show. But just my cursory knowledge of boxing and this fight. When I was a kid, I used to get HBO in what we call it on the scrambles, right?
Yeah.
Where you weren't supposed to get it, but it was clear enough where you could watch it. And HBO used to have boxing on Friday and Saturday nights. And I remember as a kid, after my parents had gone to bed, I remember I must have been 10 or 11 years old, watching an aging George Foreman knock out Michael Moore and shock the world and win the heavyweight championship. Yeah. And I remember they were like, oh, this old guy, he's got no shot, whatever. Michael Moore's the heavyweight champ, this great young boxer. And they said at the start of the broadcast, Foreman still can punch. And if he can land a blow, he can knock out Michael Moore, and that's the only way he's going to win. And he did, and it was one of the biggest upsets in the history of boxing. This is the same thing. Jake Paul is younger. He is faster. He's clearly in better shape. He's got more recent fighting experience.
Yeah.
But Mike Tyson is still a very bad, dangerous dude. I would actually be inclined to take the under, because I don't think Tyson's going to last. And obviously, if Tyson's going to win, he's going to have to knock him out. I would even, depending on what and I have to wait, but I would be inclined to take the risk and take the under, because I think that it would end one of those 2 ways. Tyson's old, but holy smokes, when you watch those videos of him training, that guy could still kill someone.
Still do it. He's still wearing those big, heavy 14-ounce gloves. Okay, so Tyson's last fight was a TKO, but it was in 2005.
Oh, it's been years.
And Jake Paul, his last fight was also a TKO victory over Mike Perry, but it was just in July.
That's what I'm saying. So Paul actually fought when Tyson had to pull out because he had an injury or an illness. And he said, I'm going to do a fight anyway, because he wanted the money. And Paul's a pretty good fighter. Now, again, do you believe it's like a Rocky Balboa type of thing, right? Do you believe?
Oh, man, Mike Tyson, 58 years old. Jake Paul's 27.
I know. But I'm telling you right now, though, if he lands, if he lands the punch, he can do it. I don't know. That's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, the fight is going to be Friday, November 15th. Look, Rob, we talked about something besides the election. I'm so proud of you. But we're going to turn it back to that coming up with J.D. Vance on the Joe Rogan podcast. A couple of things that he said. That is on the way from 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Hardly any jobs. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Job growth stalled in October. Fox's Jenny Casola.
Only 12,000 new jobs were created because of temporary factors. The impact of Hurricanes Helene and Milton and Boeing's machinist strike. The impact was even more severe than predicted. Economists were anticipating weaker job growth in October, but most were predicting at least 100,000 new positions. The unemployment rate remained at 4.1%. Janiko Soda, Fox News.
Pennsylvania's Attorney General says attempts to submit fraudulent voter application forms in several counties were uncovered and defeated. Attorney General Michelle Henry added that no ballots were among the fraudulent materials. She says investigations are ongoing. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
If you're asking how much money do I need to retire, you're asking the wrong question. The question you should really be asking is, how much money do I need every month to cover my expenses in retirement? Then it's just a matter of creating different sources of income to cover your expenses. Discover how you could turn your savings into a guaranteed stream of income in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. Call him at 317-648-5120.
We trust Bill Demery to help us with planning for retirement. He's our retirement guy, and you can trust him too. Bill breaks things down in a way that we can all understand. And if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement, call Bill right now, 317-648-5120. Social Security alone won't be enough. Contact Bill Demery, 317-648-5120, 648-5120.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center by offering the expert, compassionate care you need.
When I was at my lowest, I would have 2 or 3 nurses come in to give me a pep talk, telling me it's okay to feel this way. It's normal, but you have us to support you and you will get through this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Hey, it's Robin. I've put my name behind Garage Doors of Indianapolis for the past 7 years because they're a local conservative company that does quality work on time. In many ways, Garage Doors of Indianapolis is the perfect Hoosier. Recently, they helped my family in a garage door pinch by arriving on site quickly and fixing the problem right away. For all of your garage door needs, call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 317-875-4577. 317-875-4577. Or visit them at doorstoday.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
I feel like we have to mention this, Rob. We didn't plan on talking about it, but it came out anyway. The dismal jobs report released showing the U.S. added just 12,000 jobs in October, and that fell very short of the 110,000 that they were expecting. 46,000 manufacturing jobs were reportedly lost. Now, can you contribute this to hurricane and strike, or is it just Bidenomics is not working?
Well, I think it's a mixture of things, right? Like, clearly there are a whole bunch of areas in this country that were dramatically affected that'll take a while to come back online, businesses that were anticipating that were not. But look at your life, right? I mean, you can data this and data that, and you can rig, what is it? I forget what the saying is about how you can basically make data. Mm-hmm. You can present it in any form, and it'll say what you want it to say.
Well, I'm sure that Kamala Harris didn't want it to say this.
Well, no, I agree. But my point is, I don't need this. Like, I look around.
You already know.
I look at the death of small business in this country and how they struggle. I look at the death of Main Street and how it's gone away. I look at how large corporations are largely taking over our nation. Look at what Indiana's becoming. Look, it's just becoming this giant hub for these mega corporations, and if you're not lining up with them, you're lining up for a soup line, right? I mean, I look at these things, and as a former small business owner myself, I realize how hard it is to grow and maintain a small business. I did that very effectively for basically 15 years of my life. I made much of my living owning small businesses. It's not easy, and our government has forgotten many of these people. They've put policies forward that promote large corporations getting bigger. It's an unfair playing field. And when you look at the structure of the economy in this country, it's not good. And of course, that doesn't even get to inflation and the price of everything, and how do you afford life, period, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's incredibly hard to get ahead. I mean, my wife and I talk about this quite a bit. Like, we live about as low key of a lifestyle as you can. We rarely go on vacation anywhere. We don't spend lavishly. I have an 8, almost 9-year-old car. She has a 12-year-old car. I mean, it's like we live in a very modest middle class home. And are we doing a little better financially maybe than we were last year? Yes. But if we lived any sort of, took vacations or whatever, we would not be able to do that. And that's ridiculous. That's not how America's supposed to operate. And I think people see that. You can tell me whatever. Wall Street's this or Wall Street's that. Am I this or am I that? And I think for most people, the answer is no, they're not.
And that's the thing, because you're being gaslit continually by the Biden-Harris administration, being told how great the economy is and that Bidenomics is working and everything. And clearly it's not. As you mentioned, you can tell. You didn't need this jobs report to let you know that it's not good.
And I think when the thing that bothers a lot of people is nobody believes that the government actually cares about them. And I'm not talking about people who want a handout. I'm talking about people think that the government thinks about the government first, and they think about the people last, and these policies that we see out there, and then the way the politicians lie about the impact of the policies are clearly showing that the many Americans feel completely forgotten about, and rightfully so, because they largely have been.
Well, and it just shows you what they think of you, that you're not smart enough to realize it on your own, that they could just lie to you. Okay, well, we were going to get to J.D. Vance, but we're running out of time because Susan Beckwith is going to join us next. And obviously that podcast is up if you want to go listen to them. There's parts that are entertaining. And Susan is going to join us, and we're going to talk about some Election Day protocol.
That's right. You people need to behave yourself.
What you can and can't do when you're voting.
Yeah, when you go vote. And so we're going to have all the etiquette you need to be an upstanding member of society when you go press your buttons on Election Day.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
.306 is when we crack the microphone. We are the Hammer and Nigel Show. We have the best coverage of the Delphi trial. Plus, it's Beer Sample Friday, 93 WIBC.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. Ah, the Christmas season. I just love it. Won't you join us this Thursday through Sunday for our Christmas open house at all of our locations? You'll find the best prices of the season on Christmas gifts, ornaments, collectibles, accents, and more. Come in and pick up your open house coupons for additional savings up to 50% off select items. You'll also want to look at Indiana's largest selection of pre-lit Christmas trees ranging from 2 to 14 foot tall. And this Thursday through Sunday, save an extra 10% off all artificial Christmas trees, already reduced 30%. And again, at our 71st and Keystone store, climb aboard the Sullivan Express train and visit Santa. Book your tickets at sullivanhardware.com. Best prices of the season this Thursday through Sunday. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn in Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan, 114th and Allisonville Road in Fishers.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
This November, Indianapolis will play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the world, the World Food Championships. From November 8th through the 12th, the city will welcome over 300 cooking teams, battling in 12 unique food categories.
All of this is going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion. It's inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, family fun zone, and more. To learn more or buy tickets, visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela. Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything. But while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
You want to listen all day to WIPC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Susan, looks like I'm losing. I'm losing my mind.
Casey, we made it.
I know, it's Friday. Yay!
It's the weekend.
I'm so proud of you.
Well, what did I do?
You kept it together.
Oh, well, you've set the bar.
You kept going.
You set the bar so low. And every Friday at this time, we wrap up our work week, sending you, our fabulous audience, into the weekend with the tools necessary to be better members of society.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to be going to the voting booths and considering what to do there, and that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's Mind Your Manners,
Mm-hmm.
and for this segment, we don't just bring in any rank-and-file amateur. We have a former Miss Indiana. Her name is Susan Beckwith, and each week she teaches us some rules for the road to be a better part of society. And yes, you're right. Everybody's voting, and so we thought it would be good to set up some Election Day protocol, how to behave on Election Day. All right, Susan, let's start with this. You're a fashionista. What can you and can you not wear on Election Day?
Well, I have already voted, but if I hadn't, I would be making some sort of fabulous fashion moment with a trash bag.
Of course.
But I have already voted. You know, I am one of those that, and I don't do this every time, but I often will dress somewhat patriotically. I'm just cheesy like that. But what you can't wear is anything that would be considered electioneering. So just note that you cannot wear something in support of a specific candidate, which I don't agree with, but it is illegal in Indiana as well as 20 other states.
Now, Susan, I'm wondering, I'm going to try and do this. Do you think I can wear my Melania Trump necklace? I bet you nobody will recognize it.
Yeah, I don't think they would know that. And, you know, Mike, talking about why we are kind of opposed to that, because we feel like wearing something specifically is kind of an infringement of your First Amendment rights. And obviously you can't be rolling in with signs, and that would just be a logistics nightmare. But we feel like you should be able to. Because he was like, you know, where do you police that as far as, you know, everything is political. I mean, are they going to police people that come in with BLM stuff or, you know, so, but, you know, it is a law and we abide by the rules. So, you know, you just have to note that you can't wear anything in support of a candidate.
All right. Now, this is a big one because when I first started working the polls, you could not do this, but now you can. You are allowed to take selfies and you can take a picture of your ballot, right?
Yeah, originally it was banned, but then a federal judge overruled that and said that you were, you know, by not being allowed to, that was an infringement of your protected free speech. And so you can take one. I would say, just as far as etiquette and manners go, take your selfie outside of the polling station. You know, I think it's great to share that you voted and to be super proud of that. But I do feel like it's important to keep things moving so it's not impacting others.
Yeah, keep the process going for everyone else.
Susan Beckwith is our guest. It's Mind Your Manners. We're giving you all the rules and etiquettes for Election Day. All right, this is a big one, right? Because the lines are a gajillion miles long. And by the way, that's how much I like you and your husband. I stood in the gajillion mile long line in order to vote. So be ready to vote.
Yeah, be ready. Know where you stand, who you want to support. Look at it in advance. A lot of websites, you know, I know at least in Hamilton County, I did this as well. You print out a sample ballot so you know exactly the way it's going to look so you're prepared. So you're not trying to look things up right when you're in the polling booth.
Now, you've also got turn your cell phone off on this list because we don't want to be taking phone calls while people are trying to vote.
Yeah, you know, I feel bad because, I mean, some people have been voting up to 3 hours. So, I mean, I would say in that line, I would probably be texting or, you know, communicating in some form or fashion. But I would abstain from probably talking on the phone, you know, because that can be super distracting. So I would say, you know, just be very cognizant of noise and those around you.
Yeah, see, like we talked to Casey, I talked about this earlier when I voted yesterday. The guy behind me, he's kind of standing there looking at me for like 20 minutes. And obviously my wife and my mom and I are talking, and finally he goes, "Are you Rob Kendall?"
Oh, no.
And I said, well, there's one of two ways this can go. I kind of sized him up and I said, I think he's a fan. And I said, yeah. And so he was. And so we ended up having like a 40-minute conversation or whatever, just shooting the breeze. Heck of a nice guy. And I've heard this from a lot of people, Susan, about how they've, I mean, maybe not friends or maybe not friends for life, but they've really enjoyed meeting new people in the lines.
Yeah, my new boss was sharing that his parents, you know, waited a long time in line, and they met somebody that they now were like, if we ever need him for HVAC, we've got his business card and, you know, make connections, and I love that. So I think it's great. You know, Mike and I were talking a little bit about that last night as far as, do you share how you're voting in line? I mean, do you talk about it? What's appropriate in that regard? And I told him, I said, my approach would be absolutely, I'd be willing to have a conversation, and I would do it civilly. And I always think you're going to attract more people with honey than with vinegar. So just making sure that it's really civil. But I think it could be an opportunity to, potentially, I don't think you're going to sway very many people's votes, but there may be something that they're unaware of, a school board candidate or something of that nature that may be productive.
Yeah, we had a conversation about the school board candidates, and if you ask me my opinion, I'm certainly gonna give it to you. Hey, one quick thing I want to point out, and I know this wasn't on your list, but Casey, I talked about this earlier, is be nice. Look, I've got a manner. How about that? Are you proud of me, Susan? I've got.
He's got one for the list.
I've got a manner here. Be nice to the election workers. This is not some of these states where people are, being ridiculous with, that are working the polls. We had a fabulous experience yesterday. The Democrats, the Republicans, everybody's working very hard. People should be nice to these election workers because there's a gajillion people trying to vote, and overwhelmingly 99.9% of these election workers are not doing it for the money, certainly. They're
Right.
doing it to help out. It's a gigantic hassle in their lives. So be nice to your election workers because they're trying very hard so that you have the right to vote.
Absolutely. I love that. And you are exactly right. It's a long, grueling day. I mean, they are there incredibly early. And you're right. We're seeing record numbers coming out to vote, which is amazing. But I'm a precinct committeeman, or woman. And so I want to make sure it's easy to continue to obtain poll workers. So I appreciate that for lots of reasons. And obviously, we just want to be better people in society. So just being, kind to those that are serving and give them grace.
Yeah, I think the be nice rule, that just goes for life, actually, not just when you're voting.
Yeah, and, always, even when you don't think people are watching, like you just, you want to treat others how you would want to be treated. And I think that golden rule continues to apply, not only when we're young, but as we continue throughout our life.
Hey, before we let you go, this has nothing to do with the mind your manners, but one of the things, this will be the last time we talk before the election. I would be curious just to get your perspective, what this has been like as a spouse of someone running. Because, your husband is like me. The meaner you are to him, the more he likes it. But, he has a family at home, right? Like, you're not used to this stuff, on this sort of scale. So I would just be curious, as Micah's wife, what this has been like for you to see all of this unfold, especially some of the utterly ridiculous things that have been said about your husband.
Sometimes I will be honest, it's hard not to respond because I know his heart. I know how kind and generous and loving he is. And I wish that some of, they don't want to portray him that way. They want to portray him as radical. And it's just so unfortunate. But I'm so proud of him. He is who he is. He's bold. And that's also why I know he will be amazing, is that he will continue to be the same fighter because he cares about Hoosiers. He cares about, providing the best future for our children and hopefully our children's children someday. So, you know what? It's not always easy. Running for office isn't for the faint of heart, but it's something that we collectively decided to do. And it's been a joy to stand alongside him.
I have to imagine, Susan, that when he gets attacked, you feel attacked as well.
Well, I love him. I mean, I'm so proud of him, and I know his heart, and I just I want people to see that loving and giving and caring side of him that I don't feel like especially the mainstream media, because we're bold in our faith, I feel like also we have a huge target on our back, but that's okay. I know the Lord is with us, and we were called to this, and we know it's going to be good.
I said this at the convention, and I will say it now. Susan's speech was better than Micah's, and I said they should have just picked her to be the candidate.
Sure.
She's way more likable than Micah.
They should absolutely just have her as the spokesperson for him. She's prettier, too.
I don't know about that, but I do feel like we make a great team, and I love being a part of that team, and I'm excited for what's to come.
All right, Susan Beckwith, you're the best. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Oh, wait. I totally forgot your website. It's been so long since I've done one of these on a Friday.
That's true. You've had so many Fridays off.
Wait. Time out. You have a very fabulous website and Facebook page, Belle of the Midwest. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you can find all kinds of great social etiquette topics. I promise you that we will be rolling out some manners classes. We are working on that as we speak. I got a little delayed with all of the campaign hecticness, but sign up, subscribe, so you won't miss any details about those classes.
Belle of the Midwest, Belle of the Midwest. Find it on Facebook as well as belleofthemidwest.com. Okay, now, Susan, you can go. Thank you.
All righty, bye-bye.
Have a good weekend. And that's it, Rob. We made it to the weekend, so thank you.
I haven't worked a Friday. It seems like in forever.
I know. You just take all these Fridays off. Good for you.
And as we talked about earlier, I found my days off. So you won't be seeing me in December, baby.
No. Some people are celebrating. Meanwhile, I'm crying over that fact. All right. Well, let's head into the weekend on a good note. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have.